Greg Gaston and Eli Savoie. Sports 56 Middays is presented by FedEx. FedEx, helping small businesses simplify e-commerce.
We, the North, are now we, the champions. The Raptors, the 2019 NBA champs.
3-2. Here it is! The Washington Nationals are world champions for the first time in franchise history.
Let the good times roll. LSU sits on the throne of college football.
And this one is over. Kansas City has won their first Super Bowl in 50 years.
Now, here are your hosts for Sports 56 Middays, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoie.
Countryside, lay back and smell the sun, warm up the Georgia pie. Feels so good to be taking it easy. Why would I ever leave? 'Cause I know I got some good friends that live down.
Good Thursday morning to you. Welcome in. Hope your day is off to a great start. This is Sports 56 Middays, Thursday, May 28th, the 2020 edition of the program. I am Eli Savoie. Greg Gaston not here today. Greg will be off till about middle of next week, and then he'll be returning to the program. I am here in the Family Leisure Studios. Of course, where family and fun come together. That weather warming up out there. Of course, you're spending a lot of time at home. Kids spending a lot of time at home. Great time for a pool. And the folks at Family Leisure can take care of that for you. Go by there, check it out. You can do contactless purchasing, delivery, installation, all of that with the folks over at Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. Of course, play gyms, all that other great stuff for the kids and great stuff for the adults over there as well. Go check it out at Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, as we are here in the Family Leisure Studios. Eli Savoie, Gabe Kuhn is here as well. He is producing the program. If you're watching us, you see we are wearing the matching red today. Looking good in our matching red shirts today here in the Family Leisure Studios. A show delivered each and every day by the great folks at FedEx, and we certainly appreciate everything that they continue to do on a daily basis, and also thank them for what they do sponsoring our program. If you want to be a part of the show, you can always do that on the First Bank phone lines at 360-8255, 360-8255. And in this first hour, got an opportunity for you to get on those phone lines and give us a call if you'd like. You could also always text the program on the First Bank text line at 67129. That's 67129, the First Bank text line. If you've never signed up to text with us, all you got to do is text 56JOIN. That's 56JOIN, Join. Text that to 67129. You'll get a little automated response letting you know you're all good to go. And then you can text us or any of the shows anytime here on Sports 56. And of course, not only can you listen to us on the radio, but you can also watch us live, see the video, hear the audio by going to Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Instagram. Any of those places, you can watch us live there, see us on camera, and you can also message us on any of those as well. And so plenty of ways for you to get in touch with us here on Sports 56 Middays, and we always love for you to do that. Coming up on today's program, in this first hour, we are guest-free. We are wide open, got a lot of different things to get into. And again, if you want to take a part in the conversation, you can always do so. Coming up in hour number 2, Laird Veach, athletic director over at the University of Memphis, will join us just after 11 o'clock. Yesterday, they made the announcement that they will be moving into phase 0. Much like week 0 of the football season, I'm not a big fan of the phase 0. I don't know why we can't call it phase 1. I don't understand why we have to start with a phase 0. But nonetheless, they started phase 0, and that will start on June the 6th. We'll talk with Laird Veach about what that means, how they plan to handle things going forward, and get into some other stuff with Laird Veach coming up at 11 o'clock. Scott Miller from Bleacher Report covers Major League Baseball. We've had him on the show a number of times. He will be on at 11:25 We will talk about the latest proposal from Major League Baseball and the response by the players, which does not look good, which I'm starting to think more and more that Major League Baseball may screw this whole thing up and somehow find a way to not have a season. But we'll talk with Scott Miller coming up at 11:25. 5 favorite songs today comes your way at noon. And today's topic is a little tougher. Not exactly as many choices as we had yesterday when we went with a woman's first name. Today it's types of cars. Not the word car, but like types of cars. Could be a brand, could be whatever, but it's a kind of car, not the word car. That does not count. Greg made that quite clear. And even though the teacher's not here today, we cannot break his rules. We cannot break his rules. Even while he's gone, the substitute teacher will not have that. So you cannot use the word car. It has to be a type of car. That is our 5 favorite songs category. We'll do that at noon today. And then at 12:30, Colin Ward Henninger from CBS Sports covers the NBA will join us as the NBA continues to try and sort out exactly what they are going to try and do in a return to play. I'm confident, unlike baseball, which I'm losing confidence, basketball, confident that we're going to return to play. We just have no idea yet, and I'm not sure they have any idea for sure what that format is going to look like. There continues to be a lot of different things thrown out, and they have to continue to weigh a lot of different things and trying to get the most amount of teams, the most amount of money, try and make it fair for as many teams as possible. They continue to sort through that. But Colin Ward Henninger will be joining us at 12:30 from CBS Sports. And we've also got 2.5 questions on today's program. So a lot of stuff to get into. I did want to start because last night here in Memphis, we had the protest on Union Avenue. And then Lance Thomas certainly brought this into the sports world here locally with his tweet yesterday afternoon talking about the death of George Floyd up in Minneapolis. And Lance Thomas from the Memphis Tigers tweeted yesterday, not even going to lie. I'm never pledging allegiance to the American flag before any of my games or anywhere I'm at ever again. I refuse to pledge allegiance to a country that practices killing black people for sport. He later deleted the tweet. Then when asked, he said, they made me take it down, including some laughing emojis in there as well. And obviously we have a lot going on in this country and in this world with the coronavirus, killing many, many people, and people's lives have been turned upside down in many cases. This situation with the George Floyd death is another thing that is obviously a big issue and continues to be a big issue, and for whatever reason continues to happen way too often. Folks who know me know I am by no means a political person whatsoever. But when you watch that video, and certainly I don't know anything and never will know anything about what it is like to live in this country as a black person. That's rather obvious. But if you watch the video of what happened to George Floyd and have any reaction other than just being completely appalled by what that police officer did, I mean, it doesn't take being black. It doesn't take being anything other than being a human being with some level of sense and emotion to realize that is beyond even ridiculous. There's not even a word for it. You know, we've seen these cases and we've seen where police officers have used, well, he wouldn't obey my orders, he wouldn't do this. And so and they come up with some rationale or reasoning why they believe they needed to kill that person, even if he was unarmed. They say, oh, we thought he had a gun or whatever. This is a man who's in handcuffs. Like that, he has no ability to do anything. And he is down on the ground, and to just kneel on his neck and head to the point of killing him is one of the just most disgusting things I've ever seen. I don't, and quite frankly, they've been fired, but if they stop there, it's ridiculous. Like, there has to be more to this. You can't just fire that guy and say, yeah, that's enough. This was murder. Like, he clearly murdered George Floyd. Like, if you have a person down on the ground and kneel on them until they die, that seems like murder. I don't understand how charges haven't been filed already. I mean, it's on video. So I certainly have no problem with a guy like Lance Thomas speaking up and saying, like, man, I can't. You know, we've already, Colin Kaepernick got this started. A lot of people get offended by the kneeling of the national anthem because they believe it is an insult to our military, to other people. But this again illustrates this is what the message that Colin Kaepernick was trying to get across. This is not right. I mean, it just isn't. You can't. There's no other way to put it. Like, this is there. You cannot have this continue to happen. A guy in handcuffs with he's clearly subdued. There's nothing else that needs to be done. No matter what even possibly could have, if you thought at any point you were in danger or anything else leading up to that point, he's now in handcuffs laying on the ground and you are kneeling on him and he's telling you he can't breathe. You continue to kneel on him. The other officer comes up and checks for a pulse, and the guy still doesn't take his knee off of him.
I don't think I know a lot of people in law enforcement, like a lot of people. Playing football, a lot of guys end up in that field. That's just how that works. And I don't know if I've seen a single one of them, I've talked to several of them, who have even come close to backing up what this police officer did. There's nothing you could possibly say to justify what he did. There was 2 cops holding him down. His knee did not need to be on the back of George Floyd's neck. No,
there is no possible defense. Like, there is no defense. It's murder. Like, it just is. They murdered this man, and there should be charges for that. You know, we have seen in the last week, we have seen a number of this illustrations. Now, this is the most glaring one because a man lost his life. But we've seen the video from Central Park in New York of the lady walking her dog without a leash and a black man who simply says, can you please put your dog on the leash? Because that's what the signs everywhere say, that you must have your dog on a leash. And what does she do? She threatens him by saying, I will call the police and tell them that a black man is threatening my life. Like that, if you are a white person who believes that is a reaction, that is the way you threaten somebody, because in your mind, you know that, like, that guy's probably scared of the police because that's what unfortunately they have to be. And so you say, I'll call the police. And you actually call 911. You call 911, which is supposed to be for emergencies, because there's a man who peacefully standing there has asked you to put your dog on the leash. And then you call while choking your dog out, basically, and you try and tell the police that this man in some way was a threat to you. Like that's sickening. Like, it's like, how is that your reaction? We saw, unfortunately, again in Minneapolis. Minneapolis having quite a week. You probably saw the video yesterday. The guy in a gym in Minneapolis who asks these 2 black guys whether they're supposed to be there or not. And even though they say, yes, we are tenants in this building, we pay rent, he threatens to call 911 on them. Again, why are we using 911 as this, like, when did 911 just become this thing of, like, I'll just call to try and check on people or whatever? It's supposed to be an emergency line. And so he calls because he doesn't believe these 2 black men can be in this upper class building's gym. And he claims that, no, there was not a race issue. BS. If they were not black, you would not have called anybody on them. You would not have thought for 1 second that they didn't belong in that gym. But because they were black, you didn't think they belonged in that gym, and you decided you were going to threaten them by calling to call 911 on them. I mean, it's obviously not long ago we had the Ahmaud Arbery murder in Georgia. I mean, it is. I mean, I don't know. I feel I can listen to CJ and Zach talk in the morning. Obviously, they experience it. Me and Game do not experience it. But if you want to continue to bury your head in the sand and act like this isn't an issue, then you're just not paying attention. We see way too many of these videos and things coming out, and guys are losing their lives. And that, I mean, just the look on that police officer's face, it is just so cold. Like he does not, I don't even know what is going through his mind, but it is not in any way any thought of like what is below me is a human being.
To be honest, I was sent the video to watch it, and I couldn't get through it. To be completely honest, I've seen too much like this. You look at the Eric Garner video from years ago. It's just all so chilling and so gross, disgusting. There's not enough adjectives to describe what is going on in that video. Yeah. It's something that us as white men don't understand, and there's a lot of sort of white men out here with a certain amount of privilege that bury their head in the sand and act like this is not an issue. But at the same time, if you are not a black man or a minority in America, you will not understand the issue. You will not understand what's being talked about. But the best you can do is try and listen and take in what is being told to you.
Because if one of us is in a park and we walk up to a woman and say, hey, your dog's supposed to be on a leash, can you put it on a leash? The woman's response to us is never going to be, I'm going to call 911 and tell them a white guy is threatening my life. Because that's not they're going to, like, what? Like, they don't, it's just never going to be the thought process of that person. But with a black guy, that's her thought. That is her reaction to that. Fine. You want to try and tell me to put my dog on the leash? Which again, like put your dog on the leash. Like who cares? Like how do you even get upset that somebody asks you to put your dog on the leash? Like just do it and move along with your life. It's
and given the fact that leash laws are probably a thing.
Yes. Well, no, there's signs everywhere in that area that say your dog must be on a leash. Like I don't even understand like how you even get mad when somebody tells you. It's not like that's hard to do or bad on your dog. Like it just you put your dog on a leash, just like everybody else does. So I don't even understand that. But that's how some people think in that situation. That's the reaction in that situation, and it's beyond belief. I mean, quite frankly. And we saw the University of Minnesota announce that they will not use the Minneapolis police anymore for their large events, including football games. And I applaud them. I mean, it's ridiculous what happened there, and obviously there are issues in that city, and that need to be addressed. And so good on the University of Minnesota. The Vikings come out with a statement. I mean, these have come out and talked about that. I mean, again, there's no way anybody could possibly in any way defend or possibly try and explain what happened there. You just can't. It is an impossible thing to try and explain in any way how that guy was not completely in the wrong, and quite frankly, how it's not anything other than murder. I mean, he there's no doubt. So we will see what Lance Thomas ends up doing. You know, we are a long way from football season, or from basketball season, I mean. Now, and maybe we see it in football season. I wouldn't be surprised. Obviously, LeBron James and many other very prominent athletes have already tweeted and spoken out about this. So, when the NBA resumes, when we get to football season, obviously the NFL, as this has been a hot button thing because of Colin Kaepernick and others, and that's where it got started. When the NFL gets going, will there be college football players? Obviously, here's a college basketball player. does this start this over again and this kneeling, this whatever, in order to try and get this message across? Because clearly people at this point, nothing has changed. And I don't know but if Lance Thomas does, good on Lance Thomas. I don't, again, I think we have to realize now, I know at first it was a bit of a shock to the system when Kaepernick was doing it, and it's like, how dare you disrespect the flag and our military and everything else. But I think now we need to realize that when what they are doing is not disrespecting anything, it's just trying to awaken our country to a massive problem that exists. And so I am, if that's what he wants to do, if that's what others want to do, I am all for them doing whatever they do until we as a society wake up and realize what's happening.
It is what Kaepernick had done to that point is the only thing that had brought attention to it in a light that actually sort of got people to look at the issue. Now, did that get completely convoluted?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. His basically, if we're being real, his narrative got completely hijacked. It was never about disrespecting military. It was never about anything like that. But, again, I just hope we can move past the point where if this is done and this is a peaceful protest that a lot of athletes and others try to, do and maintain, that we cannot, we don't hijack the narrative and try and make it about something else that it's not. Because when that happened last time, it created so much division within this country, and I think it, in the end of the day,
it's kept Colin Kaepernick out of football.
And it was absolutely, in my opinion, it wasn't of Colin Kaepernick's doing. I think it was completely of another side taking his narrative and making it look bad for what he was doing.
If Lance Thomas or anybody else does this, let's not do what we did to Colin Kaepernick. There's no doubt they can deny it all they want. Colin Kaepernick is blackballed from football because of what he did. And as this week has shown us, the last couple of weeks have shown us, we have not made much progress. If any, we haven't made any progress. A guy sat there and a man was murdered in the streets by a cop while he was handcuffed. The cop kneeled on his neck until he died. If there's no more obvious thing, this woman in Central Park, the guy at the gym in Minneapolis, Ahmaud Arbery. It's time after time after time we see that there is an issue in our society with race. And so if any of these athletes want to do something to try and create attention to what's going on with the police and African Americans, then I say more power to them. It has nothing to do with disrespecting the military. It's simply about trying to create a message, to create awareness, and we need to realize, if it happens here, what the message is, and don't, again, as Gabe said, hijack that message and turn people against them because you say they're trying to disrespect our military, because not what this is about at all. They're doing it in a very peaceful way, so respect that, and let's awaken and realize what they're trying to tell us and what they're trying to shine the light on and what the actual problem is in this. If you want to chime in, you can. First Bank text line, 67129. First Bank phone line is 360-8255. You can message us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Instagram as well. If you want to chime in, certainly we would be happy to hear from you. And we've got an open segment coming up to take some of those. Got some other things to get into as well. You're listening to Sports 56 Middays here on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Peter Edmiston and CJ Hertz. Right here on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7 FM.
Right now, home sweet home has never been sweeter. Our homes are more important than ever, and finding people we trust to take care of them is just as important. For over 20 years, Home Advisor has been connecting homeowners with trusted local plumbers, electricians, roofers, and more. And now we're making it easier than ever for great pros to join the Home Advisor network. For a limited time, home service businesses can get $200 in free advertising. Visit homeadvisor.com/grow200 for details. That's homeadvisor.com/grow200.
What's the number one sign of a bad home security system? One that's so complicated you never use it. This is exactly the type of security system SimpliSafe has spent a decade fighting against. SimpliSafe was designed to be easy to use while protecting your home 24/7. Order online with a click of a button. It's really that easy. Head to simplysafecolin.com. Get free shipping too and a 60-day money-back guarantee. SimpliSafeColin.com.
I'm Dr. George Flynn with the Skin Clinics, and we're pleased to announce that we will begin seeing clients for aesthetic services on June 1st. So call 901-345-7546. Again, that's 901-345-SKIN to make your appointment for a facial, brow service, lash service, or any other aesthetic services that you've been waiting for. We will be following all necessary protocols to keep everyone healthy and safe. Our esthetician will be using masks, face shields, and gloves. And we ask that you call us when you arrive and stay in your car. We'll notify you when your room is ready. Of course, we'll do a temperature check and you'll be given a mask when you enter the building. We appreciate your cooperation and we're happy to get back to serving you safely. Remember, beautiful skin is just a phone call away. 901-345-SKIN. That's 901-345-7546. We look forward to seeing you soon.
The landscape is so beautiful at Town Village Audubon Park. Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. Looking for a great place to retire, but you still have a very active lifestyle? Then visit Town Village. Only requirements that you're 55 plus. Prices per month starting at $24.50. The Gourmet Chef welcomes you to visit our restaurant and bistro. Package includes 3 complimentary meals per day, maid service, free local transportation, monthly coffee club, theme dinner parties, lots of fun. Visit us and call Daniel or Bo at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home. Town Village Audubon Park.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays presented by FedEx.
Here once again
are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoie.
Let's do it.
Welcome back. Being no Greg today, Eli, Gabe Kuhn here with you on Sports 56 Middays delivered by FedEx. Coming up to start the next hour at 11:05, Laird Veach, athletic director at the University of Memphis, will be joining us. Ask him about the Lance Thomas tweet, and I don't know if there is any sort of policy. I don't know if there's anything as far as how they handle or would handle situations if somebody decided they did not want to stand for the anthem, whether it be a football player or basketball player. Or any other athlete for that matter, in any of the other sports. But we'll get Laird Veach's thoughts on that. Again, Lance Thomas tweeting yesterday, "Not even going to lie, I'm never pledging allegiance to the American flag before any of my games or anywhere I'm at ever again. I refuse to pledge allegiance to a country that practices killing black people for sport." I deleted it, but he seemed to claim that he was made to take that down. He does not say by who. It says they. Made me take it down. We shall see. Again, long way away before we get to that point where Lance Thomas will have that opportunity one way or another, but we'll see what he does. Football comes before. We'll have NBA basketball, and again, a lot of stars are speaking out already about this, and so we'll see what they, if anything happens, as they resume as well. Somebody texted in on the First Bank text line. 67129. He kept his foot on for 8 minutes till the ambulance took him, which he was already dead. Yeah, I mean, again, it's ridiculous. I mean, you've got people standing there saying, like, dude, get off of him. Get off of him. He can't breathe. Like, basically, And the other cop just standing there like, nobody else doing anything. And then again, the other one comes in and like checks for a pulse, and the guy still doesn't remove his knee. I mean, it's a sickening video to watch. Again, it is, to me, it is murder. I don't even understand. I don't really know how anything else you could possibly say it is. Anything other than that. It's just, again, it's amazing just in the last week, the videos that we have seen come out that kind of show the plight of African Americans in this country on various levels, starting with just, again, guys being asked whether they should be in a gym or not because it's this expensive building, and this guy clearly doesn't think, oh my gosh, how could these guys be tenants here, even though they are, their business, they have a business there, office there, to the guy in New York, and then to the extreme of a man losing his life. So it's just been, and this, obviously, again, not too far after the Ahmaud Arbery case down in Georgia. And it's in this day and age now, because of everybody's carrying a camera with them 24 hours a day. It used to be these things would happen and you could hear about police doing stuff, but you didn't, there was never the video evidence. As we see in everything in life, whether it be from domestic abuse or whatever, when you see the video, it takes it to a whole different level. And again, if you can watch that video and not just be completely appalled and want to, quite frankly, beat the crap out of that police officer, like that look on his face makes you just want to, it drives me insane watching. I kept looking at his face, and just the idea that he in no way shows that he is kneeling on a human being. It is as if he's kneeling on a piece of dirt, and it just absolutely appalls me. 360-8255 is the First Bank phone line. Mike has dialed in. What's up, Mike?
Well, I just want to get this in real quick. You said the songs today were about automobiles or cars?
Yes, types of automobiles. Types of cars.
Yeah.
Not the word
well, the
car,
first rock and roll song ever recorded was at Sun Studios. You still with me?
Yep.
And it was done by Ike Turner, and it was called Rocket 88. I just want to get that in. What I was going to say is there's a cottage industry out there that loves turning and making white people victims out there and everything. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Making white people victims and everything.
Yeah, like the War on Christmas. They love to flip this around like they did on this. Like they made the military the victim on this Colin Kaepernick thing. Okay.
Well, there's always going to be a lot of people who try and, yes, there's no doubt, protect their interests, try and explain things away as if there's never
America's
anything
a very
wrong.
victim society.
Oh, there is no doubt about that. That's why we love to sue and everything else about everything that goes on. I mean, it is crazy. Mike, thanks for the phone call. Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt. And again, I'm guaranteeing, there will be, and probably is, people who will try and act like that police officer did nothing, just was doing his job. But I don't know how you can possibly say that in this case when the video, the video couldn't be more clear. He may have done his job to the point where he got the guy in handcuffs, but when the guy's in handcuffs laying on the ground, you don't need 3 police officers to continue to hold him down, and you don't need to put your knee on his neck for as long as you did. You don't need to do it at all. You've already got him subdued. He's in cuffs. And to do that, there's always going to be people who will try and explain this and try and defend it, and act like, oh no, I mean, I don't know why these people, I don't know why these African Americans or why these black people are always complaining. It's not as bad as they make it out. Well, just again, look at these videos. Try and tell me. And you don't know what it feels like, but if you watch these videos, you get a pretty clear idea what it feels like.
That's the most important thing. You have no idea. If you are a white person in America, you have no idea what it feels like. And you can't tell anyone how to feel about it.
Exactly.
You don't go into restaurants or, again, you don't go into your apartment and have people question whether you should be there or not.
Yeah.
And this happens all the time with black people in America. So I think there needs to be an understanding of the message. It blows my mind that people try to sit there and deny constantly that there's a divide in America. There's a problem in America. We have been fighting racism for years. It's not gone. There's things out there where people feel threatened for whatever reason. They feel as if they need to ask questions to black people because of where they're at. Like us white people, we don't have to deal with that. And that's as simple as I can put it. And I think that at least should put some type of understanding in your brain about what the message here is.
That's the thing. All of these recent incidents that are getting in the news is because there is video of it. I mean, again, if you watch the Ahmaud Arbery video, like if you can think of anything other than that's just two guys murdering a black person, I don't know what else to tell you. Like, I don't know if you want to try and act like that wasn't just murder. I'm not sure what to say. I mean, it is just, there are certain, we had the situation in Oklahoma where a delivery person was stopped by two people in this neighborhood and they wouldn't let him go for like an hour. He's just clearly doing his job, but because he's black, they don't think he's supposed to be in that neighborhood. And so they're trying to, they want to make sure what he's doing there. He's driving a delivery van in a delivery uniform. I'll tell you what he's doing there. He's delivering packages. He's doing what his job is, and you're preventing him from doing his job simply because he's black and you don't think he belongs in your nice neighborhood. Raider Corey texts in, says, thanks, guys, for addressing this. It's very disturbing and sad this is going on in 2020. Thank you again for not being afraid. It's people's reaction when these issues are brought up. We need to be better as a society and stop defending these senseless acts. Somebody else says, they can protest all they want without bringing the American flag or national anthem into the situation. Being a retired military, I feel it can be done another way. I understand, sir or ma'am, I don't know which if you're a man or woman, but and I certainly get that, and I can't know what your feelings are because I'm not a military person. I'm not a retired military. So I cannot tell you whether to be offended or not. But I will say this. I think you have to understand that in no way is it meant as a disrespect to you or any other military or retired military. And I don't know, I'm not sure what other ways they can try and get this message across. I don't know. I don't know what I don't know what the right answer is, because this was tried and it got twisted and the message never got across. And clearly we have to say, I don't know. I don't know what the best way for these athletes to try and use their position in order to influence change is. But if that's what they think is the best route, I'm not going to argue with them.
The truth of the matter is, this is one of the only protests we've seen in history that has turned so many eyes to this problem, like truthfully. And I think you can say all you want about not doing it in that fashion, but it created attention, and it created a very understood sort of message when Kaepernick did what he did. So I am in no place to tell, again, sort of what you echo your sentiments. I'm in no place to tell these athletes or anybody else how to protest. Yep. It's peaceful. If it's peaceful, as far as I see it, it's good.
Exactly. I mean, that's that's the one thing I could say. The idea that it is a peaceful protest. It's not something that's going to cost us many other lives because of protests. So I don't know. Again, yeah, maybe there is another way. Maybe there's a better way that the message won't get lost, like it was, I think, with Kaepernick. I don't know. I'm not sure what that is, but I'm not going to have a problem if Lance Thomas decides he doesn't want to stand for the national anthem. And I don't think any Memphis Tigers fans or anybody else should criticize him if that's what he chooses to do. Alan is dialed in on the First Bank phone line. Hey, Alan.
Yeah, Eli, back in 1965, I played on the first integrated athletic team in Memphis.
Oh, really?
Yes, and we were 15 years old, and when we walked in the White Station's gym, you would have thought zebras had walked in or a lion or something.
Really?
Yeah, everybody sat away from us, and one of my friends was black, and we would hitchhike a lot back then. And we would never get a ride. Finally, my brother came and got us, and he started laughing. He goes, "I wonder why you're not getting a ride."
So that was a high school, like basketball?
Junior high.
Junior
football
high.
Football and basketball.
Wow.
And you would be surprised how people could look at 15-year-olds. In 1965, it was a lot different. But, to be honest with you, I think we're more segregated now than we were then.
That's an interesting point, Alan. Thanks for the phone call. I mean, listen, we've obviously come a long way in certain areas since, obviously, you go back to slavery. We've come an extremely long way. We've come a long way since the 60s and the whole civil rights movement. But again, if you just have to realize there's still a lot of issues, and there is still a lot of segregation, although it's not the obvious where it's put on a sign that tells you where whites are and where blacks are. There's no doubt we are in many ways still a very segregated society in the way we view things and the way we look at other people. And it's just, you're just killing people for no reason. It just is amazing to me that is a police officer. That is how you would treat a person that you are sworn to protect. That's and then again, the one in Central Park really just got me too, because it's amazing to me to think that there are people who have that thought process. That's the natural reaction to a black man walking up to him and not doing anything other than saying, "Hey, can you put your dog on a leash?" Which is the rule that you're supposed to be following anyway. He's not going crazy and screaming and yelling. There's clearly no threat, but the natural reaction is, "Oh yeah, well, I'll call the police and say there's a black man threatening my life." I mean, the entitlement of that comment just, you call 911 on somebody because they asked you to put your dog on a leash, and you're basically threatening them because you understand that, well, I tell the police that a black man's threatening my life, this guy has to be scared of what the police will do to him. And it's not just, well, he's got to be scared they might come arrest him.
He can't even tell this woman to follow the law without this woman feeling threatened in some way, shape, or form. It's a problem. It's a problem.
If that is your first reaction to that situation, you have a serious problem. You just do. You did that. I can't process that being your reaction to that guy asking you to put your dog on the leash. It's just that you got something's not clicking right up there. You need to open your eyes to this world, man, because if that's what you're doing, then that is scary. Myron, if you'll hold on, we'll get to you coming up next, as we've got one segment to go here in hour number 1. Hour number 2, Laird Veach starts the hour, University of Memphis Athletics Director, and Scott Miller on baseball. Will they have a season? It's starting to look a little grim on that front. We'll talk with Scott Miller from Bleacher Report at 11:25. Talking NBA in the final hour. 5 favorite songs today. Types of cars, not the word car, not the band The Cars, but types of cars in the title of the song on the 5 favorite songs. Coming up next, though, we'll continue this discussion to wrap up hour number 1 here on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
Listen online anywhere, anytime at sports56whbq.com.
I'm here with the great Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Restaurant Shipping Department.
Thanks, Brett. We've been shipping our ribs all over the country now for decades from our USDA-inspected shipping kitchen in the Pinch District. We hand-cook our ribs in pits that Mr. Charlie built over charcoal, just like they do at the restaurant.
So what comes in a rib box?
We could do pork shoulder, we could do ribs, our sauce, seasoning, baked beans, coleslaw. We'll even throw in Pancho's cheese dip with our nacho boxes. We also put a bag of Rendezvous seasoned popcorn, heating instructions, some chef hats, some wet naps, and some other helpful tips from our kitchen. We ship our ribs overnight, exclusively FedEx. And we put them in nice packaging. We don't ever want to use styrofoam, so we use corrugated cardboard, actually 2 boxes that fit nice together, so the ribs get to you, your loved ones, or your clients in a safe, wholesome manner. Rendezvous ribs are perfect for out-of-town clients, customers, loved ones. We also ship ribs for any occasion.
Where do we order these great ribs?
You can go to www.hogsfly.com or give us a call at 1-888-464-7359.
Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous Restaurant in the alley since 1948.
Has this ever happened to you? My friend was telling me about his new pair of headphones, so I looked them up online. Now, everywhere I go is a creepy ad for those headphones I looked at one time. I hate that feeling like I'm being watched. I got DuckDuckGo and saw a difference right away. With one download, you can search and browse privately, avoiding trackers, all for free. It's that simple. Take back your privacy online with DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses will buy a house in any area, in any condition, and yes, it's guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your home quickly, call 901-406-1101. If you've been through a divorce, if you lost your job, if you're tired of renters, I Buy Houses can get you your money quickly. I Buy Houses will buy your home in Shelby County, DeSoto County, Memphis, Bartlett, South Haven, Horn Lake, Olive Branch, anywhere and everywhere in between in any condition. And yes, they're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that pen, 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays presented by FedEx.
Here once again
are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoie.
Let's do it.
Welcome back here, wrapping up hour number 1. Myron is held through the break. Myron, what's happening, man? How are you?
Hey, what's going on, Lee? Sliding, what's going on, Gabe?
Not much, man.
I appreciate you all touching this as a frequent call on sports stuff, sports scores, and all this stuff on this station, this great station down through the years. I'll be remiss if I didn't speak out on this.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a major theme working, Eli, and I like it, of this collective anguish that decent human beings are feeling when they see that tape of that actual murder that took place. That collective thing is a better understanding.
Yeah, I think, Myron, I was talking with Gabe about this a little bit in the break. One of the things that has been when we've had these instances where an African American has been killed by police. Oftentimes, there has been a situation where there people could find a way, like the ones that you could find ways to explain it, where like the guy was running from the police or whatever, and they didn't know. You could if you wanted to look at it, you could find a way where, well, just maybe there was a reason they needed to shoot him or whatever, like that they were scared, they didn't know what he was going to do. In this one, if you can't possibly look at it any other way other than he murdered him, because the guy could possibly not have done. There's no way he could have done anything to that police officer. He's in cuffs, and you got 3 officers holding him down. There is absolutely no way possible for even the craziest person out there to find any way to explain why that was necessary.
Absolutely correct. It basically speaks for itself. And in this age of what we're able to do now with social media, anybody can be an instant journalist, especially a photojournalist, if you follow me. That's not hard to do today. But I appreciate this better understanding. It didn't just start. I'm going to take you back, Eli. You, myself, and Greg had a conversation. I don't know if it was occurring about something like this a few years back or something around military. And I was pointing out to you all that military to black people and their service in military means something different to white people. I was pointing out to you my father was a World War II veteran, laid unconscious on a field in France for 3 days, regained his conscious, came back home, had an honorable discharge, went into a VA office. Even with the honorable discharge, someone deemed that he only should be paid at 60% service-connected disability. Someone who had a power to do that in the VA office. And I think you all got where I was coming from. Someone had the power. Instead of him being paid 100% service-connected disability, as he should have, they had the power to act on that. What I appreciated by that conversation, Greg took the other side. He had family in the military. It meant something different to him. But what I appreciated was the fact we left with a better understanding.
And Myron, that's the thing. And I think you're right. Thank you for the phone call. I mean, I do. Again, I think this video, hopefully, but I think it does hit even harder than some of these others, again, because it is just so obvious that the guy was defenseless. Like there was nothing, there was absolutely zero threat. And I do think maybe this, as you said, the term you use, a better understanding, maybe, and this combined with some of these other things, again, like the Central Park video, like just maybe we are able to get a little bit better understanding of what African Americans are going to, again, we're never going to know. As a white man, I can't know, but I can get a better understanding in watching these videos.
But to the point about in most of these situations, there's usually an excuse made by someone down the line. You look at Eric Gardner, right? And everybody saw that and what happened, choked to death on the streets. And there were people literally out here saying, oh, well, he was selling illegal cigarettes. So he deserved to die? It's ridiculous, usually, some of these excuses. But this one, it's just, there's nothing that you could possibly say to make it even acceptable in any way, shape, or form.
No doubt. Angelo has dialed in. Hey, Angelo.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Doing good.
Listen, I tell you, I taught crisis management, professional crisis management for 14 years.
Okay.
And, it goes beyond the pale what they did. However, I'm just going to say something about the citizen journalists out there with the video cameras and everything. Hey, there comes a point when you got to put that camera down. And I'm sorry, if you can create some sort of distraction to help somebody in that situation, not to say you should bum rush the police, not to say, but I mean any kind of distraction. Something could have made those policemen get up off him, even if it did take somebody bum rushing.
But And I thought of that too, Angela, because when the first time I watched it, I'm surprised that these people didn't do something. Obviously, you had the one other police officer who was standing over there, like facing them and kind of watching them. But then, and I wondered, like, why didn't? But then I thought, they may be scared of, like, what if these police officers are willing to do this to the guy in cuffs? If they start going after them, who knows? I mean, I don't know if they're thinking maybe we might get shot if we try and do something.
Well,
I don't know.
And that may be the case. However, somebody could throw a bottle from a distance. They wouldn't know where to shoot. I mean, they may start shooting. I'm just saying somebody could have done something for this poor man and, just created some sort of distraction or even, just pay the ultimate sacrifice and bum rush them. Who knows? But it just, I hope they get what's coming to them both here on earth and, in the judgment seat of God. But I'm telling you, we got to put the phones down at some time, put the video camera down at some point. They had enough footage to show, what happened. Let's do something else too. Instead of being passive aggressive about it and busting somebody's store up windows at their stores later on.
Angela, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Listen, I thought this. I was talking to somebody yesterday. I said I'm surprised that they didn't. But again, until you're in that situation and you're looking like you don't, I could see where they would think, like, I don't know, like, if we do something, is this guy going to shoot us? Like, I don't know. And again, because it's not like there's one cop. You've got the two others behind the car holding the guy down. You got the one who's standing there, like, blocking the people from the cop who's kneeling on him too. Like, and I don't know how many other cops may have been around. So I don't know, like, unless you're in that situation, again, it's one of those things like, I don't know what I would have done. Like, I don't know how I would react to that. I don't know if I'm willing to just bum rush a cop because you don't know what's going to happen to you. But I do understand Angelo's point. There's no doubt. Coming up next, Laird Veach, athletic director at the University of Memphis. Phase 0 starts on June 6th as they begin to bring athletes and folks back onto campus. We'll talk about that and more with Laird Veach coming up. Hour number 2 of Sports 56 Middays, delivered by FedEx here on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Bria's Fashion Boutique is the worst. First, they asked me if I needed help finding anything. Just because I'm gorgeous doesn't mean I need help.
No matter how hard you work for your small business, online reviewers will find something to complain about.
Then they tell me they're having a sale. Oh, so you're assuming I'm poor. Cool.
And while Progressive can't save you from these trolls, we can help you save money on commercial, auto, and business insurance.
Also, they tried to give me the friends and family discount. I'm not your friend, so...
Get a quote online today at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliated and third-party insurers.
Looking for a high-efficiency planting solution? The Case IH 2150 Early Riser Planter combines the industry's most accurate planter technologies with a rugged row unit for a fast and uniform emergence. The Case IH 2150 Early Riser operates at your speed and adapts to unique field conditions so that you can maximize your yield potential. Stop in or call Mid-South Ag Equipment at 662-890-3141 to learn more. That's Mid-South Ag, your Case IH Equipment headquarters.
This is you getting snacks from the pantry. This is you getting snacks from the DQ 2 for $4 Super Snack Menu.
Wow!
And mixing and matching any 2 snacks, like the new Lemonade Twisty Misty with a chili dog.
Uh-huh!
A cheeseburger with fries.
What?
Or even pretzel sticks with a sundae. The DQ 2 for $4 Super Snack Menu. 2 snacks, $4. Get your on. Look for drive-thru and takeout options at your DQ. DQ, happy tastes good.
Time crunchers, run with us on a John Deere Z535MZ track mower, built to mow better, faster. Because sometimes you're up against the clock. Like Sunday evening when you've got to cut the grass before the family gets back. So you mow at full throttle with razor-sharp precision, thanks to the Excel Deep Mower Deck. Then when your family's right around the corner, you're already done. This is more than just grass, it's pride. Nothing runs like a Deere. Search John Deere Z500 for more.
DeSoto Auto Sales specializes in late model cars with low mileage. They have the highest standards in the car industry. All of their cars are test-driven, checked out from head to toe, unlimited inventory, every make and model. And if it's not on the lot, they'll find it for you. Walk in the door of DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road. Within 45 minutes, you can test your car, get credit approval, and finish paperwork within an hour. No shortcuts at DeSoto Auto Sales. Kind, courteous employees, a down-home environment. DeSoto Auto Sales cares about your time. Lowest prices in a 350-mile radius. We're living in a world today where time does matter. Visit them online. Check out their referrals. DeSotoAutosales.com. Very proud to serve DeSoto County and other surrounding areas. DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road. Call 662-890-7184. 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto Auto Sales.
At Jason's Deli, you can stuff yourself full of great deli food that's healthy, fresh, and best of all, it's not expensive. Jason's Deli is all about choice. Whether you're looking for a gluten-free menu, vegetarian sandwiches, healthy kids' meals, or if you'd like to invent your sandwich via the build-your-own selections, Jason's Deli has you covered. And they only use fresh, wholesome ingredients. Choose from the club and specialty sandwiches, paninis, wraps, soups, salads, pastas, and much more. I love the cleanliness in the restaurant, the hospitality, and of course the cost. They have a huge salad bar and great soups, including Southwest chicken chili, fire roasted tortilla, organic vegetable, tomato basil, and many, many more. And if you're planning an event, their catering department is fantastic and can handle any size party. Go check out Jason's Deli's 4 locations. On Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, that's my favorite, on Germantown Parkway in Cordova, at Poplar and Highland, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports 56 Middays presented by FedEx. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoie.
We're caught in a trap.
Welcome back. Eli Savoie here. Gabe Kuhn with me producing the program in the Family Leisure Studios. Greg is off today. The show delivered each and every day by the great folks at FedEx. We certainly appreciate you joining us. We appreciate the great discussion in hour number 1. Now to kick off hour number 2, looking forward to discussing a lot of things with University of Memphis Athletic Director Laird Veach, who joins me now here on the program. Laird, how are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing very, very well. I know this is I can only imagine what this has been like during this whole period for you as you guys try and figure out what the next move is, what the right move is, when to bring people back. And yesterday, the announcement that Phase 0 will launch on June the 6th. Take us a little bit just through this process. Who you're consulting with, how you guys kind of figure this out and come to this idea and kind of put this whole plan together of how you'll bring people back.
Yeah, well, I first of all I appreciate the time, but and I really appreciate our staff. We had a working group that we identified weeks ago to really start this process, led by Jeff Crane, our deputy athletic director, and then Daryl Turner, who's our director of sports medicine, and others. There's been certainly others involved, but those two in particular. Daryl's actually one of a few athletic trainers that's serving on the American Athletic Conference Medical Advisory Group that's working through a lot of this from a conference perspective as well. So, he, along with Jeff and others, really led the process. And, they consulted every possible guideline you could imagine, whether it's, working with the university, the city, the NCAA, the conference. There's all types of different folks that are providing input. And one of the challenges, though, there are different opinions, and there's differences among each institution from a conference standpoint or across the country, based on their city situation, et cetera. So you really have to sort of tailor it to your specific school, and I think we've done as good a job as anyone at pulling that together.
So with this Phase 0, this will be limited department staff, and football players that will be allowed to come onto campus. Take us through what this means as far as testing and things. How will that be handled as these people start to make their return?
Yeah. So as you mentioned, we're taking a phased approach, which seems like kind of the buzzword of all of these kind of return positions or processes. And we are starting with football, and then really from a staff standpoint, we're for each of our phases we're bringing back staff that are there and really interacting and there to support our student athletes. So. It'll start with football. They'll start with their phase 0 on June 6th, and then men's and women's basketball will start with their phase 0 on June 15th, and then we'll start the other fall sports early July, and then just continue to phase them in over time to really allow us to manage all of our staff, resources, etc. But phase 0 will essentially be an opportunity for us to to screen and isolate, if you will, our student athletes as they first arrive. So they'll go through a testing process for COVID-19, physicals, questionnaires. We will be able to, isolate student athletes that are coming from high-risk areas, et cetera, before we do any type of workouts or access to our facilities, which wouldn't take place until phase 1.
And with that, the phase, when moving from phase 0 to phase 1, is that an indefinite period? Is that just how phase 0 goes, basically?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I mean, we have target dates, particularly for like with football, we would like them. The goal is to have them available to start in phase 1 on June 15th, but obviously that depends on how phase 0 goes. And if, we run into challenges or issues there, then we may have to adjust. And frankly, that's sort of the case throughout this entire process, right? I mean, we've all learned that you got to be flexible and willing to, monitor the situation, learn from what's going on around us, learn from the experts, and adjust as needed. Hopefully, we won't have to, but we'll be prepared to do so if necessary.
Talking with University of Memphis Athletics Director Laird Veach. And with testing, because it's there's different things, it seems, at all these different schools as people continue to make their announcements of how they're doing stuff. With testing, how readily available is testing? Will testing be to you to be able to do it on these athletes? And how much of a financial burden is being able to test these guys?
Yeah, you know what, we are fortunate, and that's one of the other nice things of being in a larger market like Memphis, particularly with the medical influence that's available in this community. We're partnering with AEL Labs, who is, my understanding is they're the largest in the Mid-South. They work with like 150 hospitals. They've done thousands of these tests to this point, and they've been good enough to partner with us early on here to help us with these baseline tests as we bring student athletes and staff in. But it is certainly not cheap, and they're being a good partner and trying to work with us in creative ways. And we're hoping to find, frankly, some other partners in the future to help us offset some of those costs as those tests are, further required in the future. But for us, we got to get back. We got to get the process started. So this allows us to at least get a baseline test, and then we'll continue to work on partnerships from there.
And because people, I think, look at this and say, well, if you're bringing these kids, like, why aren't you testing them constantly? Well, that's just really not possible, right? Like, you guys just financially couldn't be constantly testing kids, athletes and staff every 2 to 3 days.
Yeah, well, and part of that too is you hear different recommendations from different medical experts about what the right thing is to do. So, right now, our plan is not to, constantly continue to test unless they're, symptomatic, of course. However, that could easily be adjusted, and we may, whether other, for future requirements are come down from, that whether that be conference, NCAA, city, or otherwise, or just as medical advice continues to develop, that may become the case. But if that happens, then we're going to have to continue to work with partners to try to figure those things out. It is certainly a fluid situation, and you got to continue to learn and evolve as you go.
What you're going to test everybody as they come onto campus, as you said. Then, if somebody's symptomatic, you will test them. What if after everybody is there, everybody's good, but then once they're there, somebody gets symptoms, they test positive? What then would be done with them and with the rest of the team and folks that have been in contact with them?
Yeah. So, we have, we've called it our what happens if or what happens when plan. And we've got a clear process identified and the steps we'll take at that point. And many of which those steps may continue to evolve as well. So as our team physicians or other medical experts, advise us otherwise in 3, 4, 8 weeks, we may adjust. But, initially it goes through obviously a quarantine process for that individual. And then you go through what's called contact tracing. All these buzzwords I'm learning as we go through these things. But so we've got a process established, which our director of sports medicine, Daryl Turner, would help lead and manage for us, that we can go back and immediately do contact tracing for anybody that individual was, in contact with. So, that's part of the reason why it's really important to have good information, have questionnaires filled out about who roommates are, who people are around. You have daily questionnaires that the student athletes for to enter and access the facility about who they've been around even within the last 24 hours to keep up with that. And you really try to control the different groups that they're around. So part of the reason why in phase 1, for instance, we have no more than 10 student athletes working out in a weight room or an area together is because it limits the amount of people that are potentially exposed. And even in that kind of environment, you got to maintain social distancing, cleaning before and after equipment, before and after workouts. There's a lot of detail that goes into it, but you try to limit the exposure to smaller amount of group of folks so that it doesn't impact. Hopefully, it doesn't impact an entire team or organization.
So how many phases is there in this?
For us, there's 4, counting phase 0. And essentially, once you get past phase 0, it basically goes from, in phase 1, more restrictive, smaller groups to phase 3 is certainly, much less restrictive, larger groups. But a lot of those kind of, everyday habits, we're going to have a new normal where they'll remain throughout. We'll have screening is going to remain, and, the cleaning practices will have to remain, and social distancing practices of different kinds will have to remain. So, really doesn't change that dramatically, other than just larger group sizes, and trying to expand some of those kind of opportunities for young people to train together.
So as we look forward, it seems as there's been a lot of positive momentum towards the idea that we will indeed have college football, and it looks like hopefully we'll be able to start it on time. That seems to be the way we're moving. The big question is fans and what will be possible there. Where do you stand right now? Do you we've had Iowa State come out and talk about 50% of their stadium. Do you guys have an idea of what you might be able to do fan-wise come college football?
Well, first of all, I will tell you our focus really just from a time and energy standpoint has been on this process to get our student athletes to return and start there safely. But we have begun modeling different options, different possibilities that relates to the Liberty Bowl or the Forum, and what those kind of things might look like. I think it's still too early to really speculate because I think a lot of those guidelines will be, stipulated to us based on whether that's the city or, again, conference, NCAA, whoever it may be. There's going to be folks that will help decide, with us and for us, what the safest, smartest, best approach there is. But, we're looking at different options and we recognize that we very well could be in a position where, we can only take care of, or at least start, try taking care of our season ticket holders, for instance. So, season ticket holders that have renewed and purchased season tickets by that, the time we really get to the point of knowing what this is, are going to be in the best position to have tickets. But at the same time, it could also really impact our financial position. So, those are the kind of things we're starting to think about and try to figure out how to manage. Although there's obviously still a lot of uncertainty, which makes it difficult.
Where are you guys as far as season tickets and things? Has there maybe been a little increase? Has there kind of been a little maybe positivity and momentum towards the season, or where do you guys stand?
Yeah, we are trending ahead where we were last year at this time, and so I feel really optimistic that we can get back to a real high percentage renewal rate from season ticket holders last year and new season ticket holders. From a football standpoint, our Tiger Scholarship Fund donations have started trending upward, particularly in the last couple of weeks, and that's been encouraging. We're still not near where we need to be there, and I think some folks are sort of holding off until they see more or learn more. But from a football season ticket standpoint, really, really encouraged because people seem to be excited and ready, and I think they also don't want to be left out of when that opportunity comes, because people are excited to get back together, and I think more and more people are recognizing that there may be a very finite amount of seats available. So I hope that that leads to people wanting to get involved and support us.
Do you feel very confident that the college football will begin on time?
I have felt confident for many weeks now that we will have a football season. And more, I think it is trending towards starting on time, and that would be wonderful, obviously. But again, I think it's still early to say exactly what it'll look like. But I feel real optimistic that we're gonna be competing, and certainly hope we can have as many fans as possible in the stands to do so.
One of the things here recently came out with football was the another series with Arkansas State that you guys are going to get playing one now. You're getting ready to play one now. You've done 2025 or whatever. I can't remember what the year was. I know some people don't like the idea of the University of Memphis playing road games at Sunbelt opponents. Talk about that series and how much is that the scheduling are you involved with? Is that coach? How does the football scheduling work?
Yeah, first of all, football scheduling is remarkably complex, more so than what people might fully recognize or be able to appreciate unless you're in it every day. So Jeff Crane, again, Jeff does a lot around here, and he helps really coordinate that process for us. And then it's a collaborative approach between Jeff, Coach Silverfield, and myself. We talk about it quite often and have different conversations with folks around there. So there's been some other series that we've been talking about, thinking about, working on. But it is challenging, particularly for finding, Autonomy 5 type programs that, are willing to, do a home and home or willing to play us because we're pretty dang good. And
exactly.
A lot of folks just don't want to take that on. So it makes it challenging. So, opportunities like Arkansas State, we want to balance that out with some other, Autonomy 5 kind of programs and other programs as well. But, I like the idea of playing, regional opponents like that. I think it does create an opportunity for, and I think a little more interest than some others. It creates an opportunity for our fans to go to a stadium that's not too far away and continue to watch the Tigers play. And it also creates an opportunity for, other fans to get exposed to the Liberty Bowl. And, but it's got to be balanced out with other types of opponents as well, which it will be in time.
So you haven't been able to get Scott Strickland and Dan Mullen talked into coming here?
I asked right away. That didn't go. They probably would welcome us in the swamp, But I do know their schedule. They're starting to get. I used to work on that when I was there. So they're pretty booked up, and something tells me they don't want to play the Tigers right now.
There's no doubt. One last thing I wanted to ask you about. We talked about a lot in hour number one. The situation in light of current events, the tweet from Lance Thomas yesterday. Is there any policy within the athletic department? Is there anything? Is it up to coaches? If a player decided they did not want to stand for the national anthem or do some other sort of thing, how would that be handled?
Yeah. So as you might imagine, with this just happening yesterday, and all the calls and everything else were both Penny and I are scheduled on. We have not had a chance to really effectively communicate about this, Penny or I, or with Lance. So right now, I would just say, first of all, we're going to support Thomas and all of our student athletes right of free speech. That's first of all in any kind of situation like this. And second of all, I think even more importantly is we need to support and listen to Lance and to any student athlete or anybody that's impacted by racial injustice in this country. It's obviously a very challenging and difficult situation, and right now we just want an opportunity to listen to them and support them. But beyond that, I have not had a chance to engage effectively.
Okay, but there's no like set policy or anything like that. It's like there's no you must do this, like that's part of our rules within our athletic department or our teams.
Certainly nothing that I'm aware of. Okay. Now, obviously, this has just been presented to me here, and there's a lot of things that I continue to learn about athletics, but not that I'm aware of. No.
Well, that and certainly I didn't think so, and I figured that was the case. But yeah, as you said, you didn't sign up for all this when you came here. You didn't think this was going to be the things you were greeted with when you came to Memphis. That's for sure. It has been one interesting first little bit for you here at the University of Memphis.
Yeah, these jobs are they're certainly not boring. They present challenges and opportunities to learn and grow. But we're here. That's part of what we're here for, is to help address problems and challenges when they're presented. And I had a mentor, one of my many mentors, that used to say, Laird, when you step in that position, you want to be over prepared, and he would use that word time and time again because you just can't. Just so much of it you just really can't predict. So you realize real quickly how important it is to have good, smart people around you on your team to help. You have a president and a university administration that's supportive and that's there with you and helping you work through things. So, I do feel like we're managing things about as well as we can, given all the circumstances.
You can be as over-prepared as you want. You're never prepared for a pandemic. I don't think anybody's ever prepared. I don't think anybody's ever prepared.
Nobody has that.
That is not in the book. I don't think that one's. There's no class. There's nothing to teach how to be prepared for the pandemic. That is for sure. Hey, Laird, thank you so much for your time. We certainly appreciate it, and hopefully everything goes well here in Phase 0, and we can continue to move along and be out there in that football field come fall.
Thank you. Excited to get student athletes back and start trending towards some fun seasons this year. So thank you and take care.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Laird. Appreciate it. That's Laird Veach, athletic director over at the University of Memphis. So there you go. So they will support free speech. They will. He hasn't had a chance to talk to Penny. They haven't had a chance to talk to Lance. Obviously, a lot of other things going on right now as they begin Phase 0 with the football team starting on June 6th. So a lot of moving parts over there. But as he said, they will support free speech. And the big thing is, though, to listen and see what these guys have to say and what their concerns are, things like that. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll shift gears, talk some baseball. Scott Miller from the Bleacher Report. Will we have a baseball season? Can the owners and players get it figured out? It doesn't look real good, that's for sure. We'll talk about that with Scott Miller after this on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
The word is out about R&R on Sports, where you've heard interviews from Ken Griffith Jr., Dr. J, Hank Aaron, and many, many more. Right here, R&R on Sports, Saturday mornings, 9 a.m., Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7. Don't miss it.
Blood and plasma donations are more important than ever. People all around the world still depend on the medicine your plasma helps make. That's why Interstate Blood Bank and Plasma Biological Services are open and will remain open for our donors. The United States government has declared blood and plasma donation as a critical infrastructure industry. That means healthy donors are allowed to travel to and from donation centers regardless of any stay-at-home mandates in your area. We need you to keep donating so that we can continue to manufacture these life-saving medicines. We understand that you may be concerned about COVID-19. The health and safety of our donors and our employees remain a top priority. To limit the spread of the virus, we're taking additional measures to ensure our centers are safe and clean. Donating now is more important than ever, but please do not come to the center to donate if you are not feeling well or have a sore throat, fever, cough, or shortness of breath. We are doing our part so that you can do yours. Come donate today at one of our IBBI or PBS locations across the Memphis area.
You'll see the dedication in every single step. You'll see it in the smiles when smiles are hard to get. You'll see it in the little things that add up to success. The caring and passion are the things that we love best.
Wolf Chase Limb Brace is your Mid-South provider for orthotics and prosthetics. They are an ABC accredited facility, and their practitioners are ABC certified. At Wolf Chase Limb Brace, their services include artificial limbs, legs and arms, braces of all kinds, and custom molded inserts. You can call them today at 901-507-7821 for their location on Highway 64 in between Germantown Parkway and Appling Road, or visit them at their new location in Jackson, Tennessee. That number is 731-660-5900, or visit them on the web at wolfchaselimbembrace.com.
Dedicated our life to yours. Wolf Chase Limb and Brace.
Let's say you just bought a house. Bad news is, you're one step closer to becoming your parents. You'll proudly mow the lawn. Ask if anybody noticed you mowed the lawn. Tell people to stay off the lawn. Compare it to your neighbor's lawn. And complain about having to mow the lawn again. Good news is, it's easy to bundle home and auto through Progressive and save on your car insurance, which, of course, will go right into the lawn. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Discount not available in all states or situations.
Eat well and stay healthy with Sweetgrass Next Door's to-go and delivery service. From shrimp and grits to pork chops to chocolate chip cookies and more, feed your need. Located in the heart of Cooper Young Midtown, Sweetgrass Next Door makes for an easy to-go, pickup, and delivers to all of Midtown, most of downtown, and even East Memphis locations. For more information, visit online sweetgrassmemphis.com or call 901-278-0278 to place your order today.
Hi, it's the Herd. No matter what happens, you want to make sure your loved ones are taken care of. That's why LegalZoom makes it easy to set up the right estate plan without leaving home. Don't know the difference between a last will or living trust? LegalZoom can help. They're not a law firm, but you can get started quickly online and get advice through their network of independent attorneys. Take care of your family today with the right estate plan at LegalZoom.com.
Hey everybody, our friends at All-Star Chevrolet and Olive Branch say congrats to the high school and college class of 2020. And it's a great time to help your grad get a new or pre-owned Chevy. And if you're ready to get that new Suburban, Tahoe, Silverado, Blazer, or even pre-order one of those hot new Corvettes, All-Star Chevrolet and Olive Branch is where you want to be. Because the people at All-Star Chevy make it fun, easy, and safe, whatever makes you comfortable. They'll even bring any All-Star Chevy car, truck, or SUV to you. And you'll pay a lot less than at those city dealers. GM's financing means no payments for 4 months and 0 interest for 84 months. That's on any new Equinox or Silverado. Thousands in cash back with Blazers, Silverados, and more. And everybody at All-Star Chevy has one job: to make sure you get a better deal, have more fun, and in record time. And all sanitized and safe for you. They'll even pick up and deliver for maintenance and service. Remember, it's not the Pike, not South Haven, not Mount Moriah or Collierville. It's gotta be Olive Branch, people. So find new roads to All-Star Chevrolet today or go to allstarautogroup.com.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays, presented by FedEx.
Here once again
are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoie.
Welcome back here. No Greg today. Eli Savoie, Gabe Kuhn producing the program here from the Family Leisure Studios. Well, yesterday we talked about the proposal from the Major League Baseball owners that seemed like it might have gone so far that the players would not even want to do a counter proposal, because if this is our starting point, this is ridiculous. Why should we even waste our time? Which is a little bit what Max Scherzer said of this isn't even worth it for us. So will we have a Major League Baseball season, or will the owners and players just not be able to get this figured out? We always enjoy having Scott Miller on. He's the national Major League Baseball columnist for Bleacher Report and Turner Sports, Sirius XM, MLB Network radio analyst as well. And Scott joins me here on the program. Hey, Scott, how are you?
Good, Eli. How about yourself? Hope you and the listeners are well and healthy today.
We are still healthy. Most of us are anyway, and same to you as well. Well, so why must baseball continue to be like this? Why can't the owners and players just get along, Scott?
That's a very good question. I mean, it's weird because from 1972 to 1994, 72 is basically the beginning of the Players Union era. I mean, there were like 10 or 11 strikes and lockouts. And then once we got through that ugliness of 94, 95, baseball's on an unprecedented run of like 20-some years now with uninterrupted by strikes or lockouts. Yet, even given this run of labor peace, there hadn't been a lot of peace. And here we go again. And, you know, I mean, who knows what's going to happen? I still think that there's too much at stake for both sides. Both sides are losing a ton of money this year, and you might have noticed they're not alone. There's a lot of other people in this country that are hurting, but both sides are losing a ton of money. And I still think in the end, the stakes are high enough that when they're going to figure it out, because even whatever money they can make by playing a partial season, that mitigates the overall losses. You know, at least you get something. So I think they'll work it out. But boy, it doesn't sound like it at this moment, because, you know, how the sausage gets made is never a pretty subject. And during negotiations, you know, it's amazing. You know, it'd be, I think, a lot more peaceful if there was just a gag order on everybody. But, you know, the owners have their certain media people they'll go to, and they'll leak stuff to make the players look bad, and then the players come firing back, and it gets ugly.
Well, and the thing, too, is when you have millionaires fighting billionaires, if in the end they don't get this figured out, I mean, you just cannot possibly sell to the fans that, like, money. The pandemic wasn't what stopped what cost us the season. Is we couldn't agree on how to split millions of dollars.
Well, and that's the other thing. I said, you know, the first point I made was, you know, what I just said, that I think they'll come together, because if both sides can get some money, it is better than nothing, exactly, even though they're both losing. But to your point, you make you know, you normally has been my next point, and you're exactly right. I also think they get back together because of public pressure, because there's not going to be any winners in this thing if they bicker and derail this season, and you know, nothing comes in and they just don't play. You got the highest unemployment rate right now in this country since the Depression. I mean, that's awful. You've got a lot of people hurting. You've got a lot of people scared for their futures. Even people that are still working. Some are worried that their business is going to end because it's down so much, or that they're going to get laid off. And you just, if you know, if you're the, as people say, the millionaire players versus the billionaire owners, it's just going to be an awful look. And I also think there's even greater stakes here in that, as we all know, this current collective bargaining agreement lasts through the 2021 season. Mm-hmm. So basically right now, not only is there enough pressure to try to get this season, what's left of it, launched, but this is about the time right now when the players and owners would begin meetings looking to negotiate the next CBA, which, as I said, expires after the 2021 season. You know, usually they negotiate these things a year and a half or so out. And from that perspective, if this gets blown up, all that means is that they're starting negotiations for the next collective bargaining agreement in a horrific place. And if they can't get this figured out, then you wonder, you know, okay, what are they going to do? Play 2021 and then have another strike or ugly labor showdown? And at that point, already people are, you know, a lot of people in this country have, moved on to football or pro basketball. Yeah, and you just wonder, in an era when baseball is trying to the big thing is about how they connect with the young generation that likes to move faster than baseball plays. This wouldn't exactly be the way to do it.
There's no doubt about that. So you think they will get this done? Do you think it'll be the 82 game schedule and the kind of the things that we have heard so far?
It's hard to say. I will say this: if I think there are a couple of options here. If they're to get this done and play the 82 game schedule that the owners have laid out in their time frame, which would be start around early July 4th, and play the rest of July, August, and September, and then maybe a couple days into October, but then most of October would still be for the postseason. Under that format, they're going to have to get this thing agreed upon in about the next week or 8 or 9 days, because you start working backward. Spring training would have to start somewhere between June 10th and 15th, which means they would have to have an agreement by somewhere around, say, June 1st to 5th to give everybody time to, okay, agreement's done. Now everybody can start heading to wherever they're going to have their spring training, probably in the major league cities, not in Florida and Arizona. So yeah, today's May 28th. If they're going to have that 82 game season, this is crunch time in negotiations. As I say, they've got to get it figured out sometime between June 1st and 5th. Now, the players are going to come back, I'm told, with a proposal tomorrow, even though they say, Max Scherzer said this might not even be worth, they're so angry with the owner's proposal. Scherzer and others have said this might not even be worth responding.
So
I'm told they're going to come back with a proposal Friday.
Okay.
And as part of that, it's going to be, I think they're going to propose to play 100 or 110 games. The players would like to get more games played, and they think then they won't have to take the drastic pay cuts. And then if they propose playing 110, 120 game season, their view, I think, is that they could continue the regular season through October and play the postseason in November. So if, that's another option. But the owners, I think, are concerned. They don't want to go that deep into the fall or winter because, among other things, the CDC and the Dr. Fauci's of the world are warning we're going to have a second pandemic.
Yeah, you got that. Plus, boy, good luck in some of those cities.
Yeah, right.
If it's New York, Boston, Chicago, Minnesota, good luck playing the postseason in November.
Well, that's the thing. And I know some of the players say, well, you can play it at neutral sites, warm weather sites or where there's a roof. But, two things. One, say you're the Los Angeles Dodgers. You're really good. Obviously, they're one of the favorites. They haven't won a World Series since 1988. I guess if there's a World Series, they could play that game in L.A., but, if there are no fans in the stands or whatever, that gets tricky. But, the owners are definitely the owners are concerned about the second wave of the coronavirus that's predicted. And the reason is the postseason TV money is more than the regular season TV money. And so, what the money grab that they're trying to do to at least make some of the lost money back, there's a pretty sizable chunk that is tied to postseason revenues. TV contracts. So if you push a postseason back into November, even if you figure it out, it's at warm weather sites, whatever, okay, you get through all that. Well, if this second wave of the pandemic comes through, as some CDC and others are predicting, the longer you stretch out the season, the more at risk it's going to be that, a second wave's coming through, we've got to shut things back down again. And if they do that and don't get the full postseason money, then some owners think that's as bad as not playing at all.
Yeah, that certainly makes sense. There's no doubt about that. The last thing they want is to play out the regular season. Yeah, not be able to get the postseason. It's not like you're not going to be able to push that back again and be able to get it in some other time. That at that point your season's done, and so that makes everything useless that you did really to that point for pretty much everybody.
Exactly.
Talking with Scott Miller, National Major League Baseball columnist for Bleacher Report and on Sirius XM MLB Network Radio as well. Do you believe? I've been saying that I believe if they do play this season and they do the DH in the National League, as they have said, that will be there to stay. They'll never get rid of that again. Do you believe that?
I think there's a pretty good chance. Yeah, I think it's only a matter of time until that DH comes into the National League. The only qualifier I would add, Eli, into what you just said is this. If there's a National League DH this year, which I think there will be, I think there's going to be universal DH this year. Partly to protect the pitchers because that's who everybody's going to be worried about because of the break in spring training. And then when they ramp spring training up, there's fear that the pitchers aren't all going to be ready at full strength yet. So they're going to do everything they can to protect them. But the one qualifier I would add, I could see rules reverting back next year on a 1-year basis to the National League having pitchers bat only for 1 year. And the reason I say that, it ties into what I said earlier. The collective bargaining agreement ends at the end of the 2021 season. So if you're still under that CBA, then I think the DH would not be in the National League. Now, they could, both players and owners could just go in and make an agreement, say, you know what, it worked well this year, we're just going to leave it. But I also could see, as I say, back to the qualifier, I could see under the last year of the CBA next year, things reverting back to how it is. And then when they negotiate the new CBA starting in 2022, as part of those negotiations, the DH is in the NL for good.
Yeah, I certainly could see that. But yeah, it certainly seems as though we are on the way to, in the very near future, we are going to have that DH in the National League. And to me, it makes sense. Like I get it. I'm a bit of a traditionalist as well, but like I don't need to see pitchers batting anymore.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm also a traditionalist, and I've kicked and screamed for years and said I like the National League style of ball. There's more thinking, all the stuff you hear. And I've also said I don't see why. I mean, like, in the old days, like Bob Gibson, he could hit some. I mean, not maybe, like an all-star, but, guys like him and Don Drysdale used to help their causes. And so I've always said I don't know why it has to be that a pitcher's just an automatic out.
Yeah.
But part of the answer to my question I've come to realize over the years is the National League is the only league in which pitchers bat. I mean, you have designated hitters now from like high school, college,
exactly.
on up.
Yeah.
And so by the time the pitchers go to the National League, I mean, like Bob Gibson hit, as a player all the way up through the minor leagues, et cetera, et cetera. But now, by the time the pitchers come to the National League, a lot of them haven't. The reason they are automatic outs, they haven't had to bat in years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because you're college, everybody's using it. So yeah, now you're asking the guy, oh, by the way, you do something that you haven't done in your entire career of baseball since Little League, probably. So yeah, good luck out there, and do it against pitchers who throw 98 to 100 regularly. Yeah, good luck out there with that. That should be a lot of fun. But I really hope they can get this thing figured out. I hope that you are correct and that they will, calmer heads will prevail and they'll realize like this is still something is better than nothing, and like we can't do this to the fans. We can't say nope, there's no season because we can't agree on how to split this money.
Yeah, I mean, I do think there's something, that whole thing for the good of the country. It will be great when sports comes back. We know it's going to be slowly. We know fans won't be in the stands, but I've been joking. I mean, I don't know about around your house. I know for months now, my daughter's home working from home as well. She's 23. So it's like Groundhog's Day every day. It's become a running joke about mid-afternoon or late afternoon, maybe toward dinner. I'll do a drive-by, my wife and my daughter, and I'll be, hey, well, what are we watching tonight? What are we watching? And then you got to figure out, okay, Netflix, what movie? Are we going to binge watch something? And just to have ball games back again will be tremendous. And I think there is that phrase, for the good of the country, and I truly believe that. The problem is everything's business and corporations in our country today, and everything revolves around economics. And, you'd like to have that naive, hey, for the good of the country, it needs to come back. And it's true, but it's also naive because you understand they're not going to do anything unless the economics are right pretty much anywhere.
Well, it's funny because you said, and I don't like to watch old sporting events, but the other night when Game 7 of the 2016 World Series was on, as a Cubs fan, that one I actually enjoyed watching, and it was, although I still got nervous, somehow I still thought they were going to find a way to lose that game, and I was still, I still got angry at Joe Madden for some of his moves. You wrote a story that posted today that I had no idea about this story, but Esteban Loaiza, former Major League pitcher, all-star pitcher, you wrote the story about how he's he turned into a cocaine dealer and is in prison.
Yeah, it's crazy. He got arrested 2 years ago after he crossed the border from Tijuana up into San Diego. He had been part of the FBI or the feds were watching drug running over the border, and he was part of a group. They had been under surveillance for a while. So he gets arrested, and it turned out he had 44 pounds of cocaine in one of his SUVs in a stash house down by the border. So that was 2 years ago. Flash forward now, he ends up getting time in prison. So he's in prison in Seattle right now. And, I wondered, back in 2000, he pitched 8 different teams, 14 years. He had a serviceable career. He was a hero in Mexico. His 121 career victories are the second most ever by a Mexican-born pitcher after Fernando Valenzuela. 2003, he was with the White Sox. He started the All-Star game for the American League in his home city in Chicago with the White Sox. The game was at U.S. Cellular Field. It's just so crazy how you would go from starting an All-Star game to being in prison for running drugs all these years later. And so I started poking around on the story about a year ago. Initially, I hoped to go talk to him in prison. Well, predictably, his lawyer, himself, they're not doing any interviews. They shot me down, as did a couple of his family members. So I chipped away at this anyway, investigating over the past year or so, and talked to a number of baseball people, his old general managers, his old teammates, some other local San Diego people that were close to his family. And it's just a wild, what I ended up with, it was just crazy. He was married for a while, Jenny Rivera, who was an international singing star in Mexico. Her plane they were together 2 years, then her plane went down, and she was killed in a plane crash right after they split. When he was pitching in Texas in 99, he had just gotten married. Then he fell into an affair with Pudge Rodriguez, his teammate's nanny, who was 19 at the time. There's all kinds of craziness there.
I can't wait to read it. I had no idea that was the thing. I'm looking forward to reading that, folks. You can check that out on the Bleacher Report as well. He is Scott Miller from Bleacher Report, MLB Network Radio at Sirius XM as well. Scott, always a pleasure. Appreciate it. Hopefully we'll have some games here in the near future.
I hope so, Eli. Hopefully next time we talk, there's actual Dodgers versus Padres and Cardinals versus Cubs or something.
That sounds great. Scott, thank you very much. Stay well.
All right, you too.
That's Scott Miller from Bleacher Report. 2.5 questions up next here on Sports 56, 96.1, 87.7.
Sports Time on Sports 56 with Willow and Stats. Weekday afternoons from 3 till 6. Right here on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7 FM.
Geico gets you access to licensed agents 24/7, which means that Geico is always there for you. If only everyone was always there for you. Like your wife when you forget your keys at work.
Hey, hon, you get my texts? I am looking for the spare house key. Maybe I can get through the window. Turns out the alarm works. Wow, it works fast. You should probably call me back.
Geico. always there for you with savings and 24/7 access to licensed agents.
Case IH is a proud supporter of the Mississippi Farm Bureau, and thanks to a membership benefits partnership, Mississippi Farm Bureau members receive a discount of up to $500 on every qualifying Case IH tractor and piece of equipment you purchase. This discount may be used with other promotions, rebates, or offers. So join Mid-South Ag Equipment and the Mississippi Farm Bureau and pocket up to $500 in savings. Call Mid-South Ag at 662-890-3141 to get your discount today.
Every home has have-to-dos and probably some want-to-dos. The Home Depot can help you do both with the things you need to make things work a little better, or take care of something you've been meaning to do. Maybe do something to start summer. We have the low prices to make it all doable. Order online and get free delivery on orders over $45. Whatever you need to do or want to do, we can help you get it done. The Home Depot. How doers get more done. Some delivery exclusions apply.
Bria's Fashion Boutique is the worst. First, they asked me if I needed help finding anything. Just because I'm gorgeous doesn't mean I need help.
No matter how hard you work for your small business, online reviewers will find something to complain about.
Then they tell me they're having a sale. Oh, so you're assuming I'm poor. Cool.
And while Progressive can't save you from these trolls, we can help you save money on commercial, auto, and business insurance.
Also, they tried to give me the friends and family discount. I'm not your friend, so...
Get a quote online today at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliated and third-party insurers.
Every home has a to-do list. That leaky drain, bare spots on the lawn, repainting the trim. To finally get that to-do list done, call in a pro. Over the past 20 years, HomeAdvisor has connected over 100 million homeowners with trusted local pros. And during these times, we're making it easier than ever for great pros to join the HomeAdvisor network. For a limited time, home service businesses can get $200 in free advertising. Visit homeadvisor.com/grow for details. That's homeadvisor.com/grow.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays presented by FedEx.
Here once again
are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoie.
Let's do it.
So coming up in hour number 3, top of the hour, do have some texts I want to get to from our discussion earlier about, of course, the death of George Floyd. Some folks have chimed in on that on the first bank text line. Also, then we'll have our 5 favorite songs to start the hour. Today's category, types of cars. Not the word car, but types of cars. Songs about a type of car that's got to be in the title of your song. We'll get to that to start hour number 3. Right now, it's time for 2.5 questions.
Who, what, where, when, how, and why? Questions start with these. Step right up and answer all my questions, if you please.
I'm just a normal kid, like you, except that I ask questions. And because I'm brave enough to ask questions, I come under scrutiny.
Asking all them questions. Why you asking all them questions?
Now here is a question for you.
What does the fox say?
All right, let's kick it off. Question number 1. You just got off the phone with Scott Miller. The MLB proposed the sliding pay cut scale. The players are expected to counter with more games and a full prorated salary. Seems like no ground has been made, so I'm going to ask you, I need a affirmative yes or no. Will we have an MLB season?
Well, I'm going to go with Scott here. Like, I just can't imagine that they can't figure this out. Like, something is better than nothing. And if you don't play at all, you're all getting nothing. So I just have to believe that alone gets them there, as well as that they will at least acknowledge the fans. Like, listen, like we can't do this. Like, we can't go out there and tell thousands upon thousands of people who've lost their jobs that the reason we're not playing is because we can't decide how to split up millions of dollars.
It's been like that. No shame in their game so far, though.
That's the, I don't understand how we get to this point, like why they have to be so contentious in their relationship. But I have to believe that they will figure this out and get it done.
Okay, that's also we want to believe they can get it done.
But I don't see any way you play regular season games all the way through the end of October and try and do the postseason in November. Like, to me, that's just, I don't see how that's going to work.
The players counter is literally the opposite direction of what anything the owners have even thought about proposing.
Yeah, I'm sure the players will probably come with something ridiculous on the other side, so just make their point of like, okay, we both have a ridiculous thing. Now let's figure out what's reasonable in the middle of this.
Exactly. You keep hearing, oh, this is the beginning of discussions, but now we're getting a few weeks down the road here, and there's just no ground made.
As Scott said, I mean, like, yeah, if you're going to start on July 4th, if you're thinking of starting games, actual regular season games around July 4th, you got to have this deal done here in the next week or so.
No ground made up so far, so it's very interesting. Of the Tigers' transfer commits, you look at Landers Nolley Jr. and DeAndre Williams. Who do you think gets a waiver? One of them, both of them, or neither?
Well, I think Williams will for sure. I mean, you just look at that situation at Evansville. Like, that to me is like the textbook reason of why a guy would get it, other than like family sickness or whatever. But when you lose one coach midseason, interim coach takes over, they hire a third coach before the season's even over, like that hectic thing, to me, I would believe DeAndre Williams gets one, absolutely. Landers Nolley is a little different because he played 1 year under the new coach. So, like, if you didn't like the coaching change, why didn't you just leave before the new coach came in? Why'd you play 1 year? But you could also make the argument, well, I thought I was going to be fine, but I played the year. His system wasn't what I expected. Is that worth a waiver? I don't know. I'll say Williams gets it. Nolley does not.
Okay. And they granted a waiver yesterday to a Kentucky transfer, correct? I think I saw that.
It was, yes, somebody got one. Yeah, somebody got one. I don't remember who it was, but I do remember.
It was a Kentucky transfer.
Was it? Yeah,
I can't remember exactly who it was.
I remember seeing somebody got a waiver, but I didn't even pay attention to who it was.
The selection of who gets it.
No, the randomness of it all makes no sense. I don't get it. But yeah, I'll say Williams does and Nolley does not. Which, Nolley having already sat out a year, I don't know what that will mean.
Yeah, and what is it? Sarr? What's his first name? But Sarr said he wouldn't.
Oh, Olivier Sarr.
Yeah, Olivier Sarr said he wouldn't want to even play. He'd just start training for the draft if he doesn't get his. So.
I could certainly see that.
That's a thought. Now, final question here. 3 choices I have here for the NBA playoffs. 16-team playoff as normal, just 8 Eastern, 8 Western, as it stands right this second. And the second one is 16 playoff teams play, and they're seeded based on their record.
1 through 16.
Not Eastern versus Western.
Okay.
And then the third one is the Mark Cuban plan. You have a tourney with 20 teams. The next 4 best teams have a play-in game or series. So it'd be 17 versus 20, 18 versus 19. The winner of those 2 go on to play the 15 and 16 for those spots. Of these 3, which one is best in your opinion?
Of those 3, I actually think I would probably do just the 1 through 16 and see them that way, not Eastern, Western, but only 16 teams.
So those Western Conference teams are excluded.
Yeah, I get the idea of trying to get as many teams there as possible. Like, that makes sense. They're trying to get as much money out of this. You're trying to salvage as much money as you can. The more teams you get there, the better chance you have of doing it. I get the philosophy of trying to get as many teams there. I just don't like that Cuban plan. To me, the pool play of bringing 20 teams is the one that makes sense. Like, to me, that is the best plan there is out there. There is a report today. Apparently, the Bucks owner has said that Adam Silver will present scenarios for return to play at a Board of Governors meeting tomorrow, and then next week, the governors will vote on which format they want to go with.
What do you think about the plan that sort of surfaced yesterday? I saw Zach Lowe write about it. Dan Feldman wrote about it, where they just have a plan for that 8 spot in the West. Is that ridiculous?
No, to me, that's ridiculous. If you're going to do it for the West, why would you not do it for the East? Like, I don't get why the West would be different in that case than the East. If you're going to do a play-in for a final spot, it needs to be the same in both.
That's the way I see it.
Or unless you're going to say we're going to do 1 through 16, then you should have a play-in for the 16 spot.
Because then you're blurring the line between, are we going based off record or are we going based off conference? And it doesn't make any sense to me.
To me, that doesn't make sense. Now, if you want to do the play-in for the number 8 in each one, and you want to give a huge advantage to the team who's in the 8th spot now, I'm fine with that too. Like there should be some reward for the fact that
but it should be both sides.
But you have to do it in both. I don't understand how you could do it in one conference and not the other.
I think the point missed by a lot of these guys writing about this, it's purely coincidental that the next best 4 teams are in the West.
Exactly.
Purely coincidental.
Yeah, I mean, the Grizzlies have a better record than those teams at the bottom of the East. So, like, why should they automatically be in? But the Grizzlies, because they're in the West and the next best teams are all in the West, the Grizzlies have to play for their spot. Like, no, you're either doing it in both or you're doing it in neither. I don't see how you would do it in one and not the other. Coming up, hour number 3, get your songs in. 5 favorite songs, type of car in the title. We've got that coming up next as we kick off hour 3 here on Sports 56 Middays on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM, 96.1 FM, and 87.7 FM. As well as online around the world at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere on your phone or tablet by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, tell Google or Alexa to play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned to real sports talk. Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
Hi, this is John Conway with Conway Services. How old is your water heater? With most of the water heaters in the Mid-South located in the attic, the worst day you can replace your water heater is one day too late. It may be time for a tankless water heater from Conway Services that never runs out of hot water. Plus, these energy-saving models only heat the water you use, saving you money on your gas bill every month. Most 10-year-old water heaters were about 65% efficient when they were new, compared to a tankless water heater from Conway Services is up to 98% efficient. Plus, right now, get your tankless water heater from Conway Services for as low as $79 per month. Or I'll give you $300 for that old tank water heater. And no more worrying about that tank bursting in your attic either. And with over 8,000 5-star reviews, you know Google guaranteed Conway Services will be providing that award-winning service every time. So call Conway Services, the Mid-South's premier tankless water heater professionals at 384-3511. And the first 30 callers with a 10-year-old water heater will come out and inspect it absolutely free.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
It's time to tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shop's Father's Day sale. For a limited time only, trade in your old clubs and receive a 50% bonus towards inline Callaway or Odyssey Stroke Lab products. All Nike, Adidas, Puma, and Under Armour apparel is now 25% off. Check out the Bushnell Tour V5 rangefinder, which measures up to 400 yards to the flag. And introducing Bushnell's Wingman, the world's first Bluetooth speaker with audible GPS distances. Edwin Watts Golf Shop's Father's Day sale going on now. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee.
Frontier Western Store is open and ready to serve you for all your needs in boots, apparel, pet food, and more. Frontier is proud to be a local leader here in the Mid-South when it comes to boots. Stop by the store today for an incredible selection of name brand work and dress boots. Come browse aisles and aisles of top quality boots at everyday low prices in our world famous boot showroom. Dan Post, Rocky, Durango, Twisted X, Georgia, Ariat, and many more. There are so many styles, colors, and fits available, you might need a hand picking out your favorites. Luckily, Frontier's knowledgeable sales staff will cheerfully assist you with any questions you have and ensure the proper fit of your new boots. Frontier also has an amazing selection of jeans and shirts by Wrangler, Ariat, and Carhartt, as well as a fully stocked women's boutique department with thousands of tops and dresses at unbelievable prices. New arrivals often. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Gilman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Family owned and operated since 1967.
From nurses to truck drivers, doctors to grocery clerks, the front lines in today's crisis are filled with brave actions every day. And you can do your part by completing the 2020 census. This simple effort online, by phone, or by mail will help impact the next 10 years of healthcare, schools, and roads. All of our first responders need your response. So go to 2020census.gov today. Shape your future. Start here at 2020census.gov. Paid for by U.S. Census Bureau.
First Bank is here to help you, whether you're a business looking for a loan to expand or refinance an existing one, a homeowner looking for a mortgage or home equity line, a consumer wanting to finance your dream car, or wanting a competitive rate on your CD deposits. Let First Bank try to handle your banking needs. Stop into one of First Bank's 3 local branches today. 6482 Poplar Avenue, just east of International Paper, 8398 Highway 64 across from Wolf Chase, and 6280 Highway 64 in Oakland. Or check them out online at firstbankonline.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG FLP Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports 56 Middays presented by FedEx. This hour is brought to you by East Memphis Ace Hardware at Quincy White Station. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoie.
Welcome back. It is hour number 3, Sports 56 Middays. No Greg today. Eli and Gabe here. We've got our 5 favorite songs coming up in just a moment. Hour number 3 of the program. Of course, the show delivered each and every day by FedEx here from the Family Leisure Studios. And hour number 3 is brought to you by East Memphis Ace Hardware. They're at Quince and White Station next door to Billy Hardwick's All-Star Lanes. Everything you need, boy, any project around the house, they've got it for you. The East Memphis Ace Hardware. Great selection of grills as well. You need a new grill, go check them out. They got the Big Green Egg, Traeger grills, all kinds of great stuff at the East Memphis Ace Hardware. Before we get to the songs, I did want to get to a few text messages we had left over from our discussion in hour number 1 here on the First Bank text line, and also one on Facebook from John. Text here says, all the police that I know are saying it was time to put him in the car. If he would have not been cuffed, it would have been different. But 4 officers still could have got him in a car with him being cuffed. Now, if he would have tore the car up, then he would have charges for tearing the car up. And officers in Memphis would have had EMT check him once they got him in the police car. Yeah, again, that's the whole point of this thing. Like, he was no threat whatsoever. The guy was in handcuffs, and you had 4 cops there. There was not going to be an issue. Like, there's no way you can say in any way, shape, or form that what this guy did was necessary. Somebody says Shelby County deputies that I know said they wouldn't have arrested him. They are not counterfeit money experts. They would have let detectives handle it. Then we get the other side. Somebody texts in. So sick of this. If this were a white murdered by black cops, nothing, and I mean nothing, would be said. We would not have even heard about it. The idiots who did this to this man need to be prosecuted fully. Why do we have to do this to refuel the black versus white crap? Again, if you don't think this is something like this, if you don't believe that this is an issue, if this was just a coincidence that it happened to be a white cop and a black man, if that's your way, like that there was no difference here just because of the race of the people. Like this could have happened. This is just a bad cop and do whatever. Again, there's nothing I can say that is going to convince you otherwise. So it's not worth it. I mean, again, this is the obvious extreme because, man, just look at these other videos we just saw here recently of people and how they react to black men in situations. And just, if you don't think that that it's different in the way that people react to black men versus white men in our country, then you're crazy. I don't know. Like you're just not going to see it.
And yeah, truthfully, there's nothing. I don't know if anything we can say will change your mind at this point. I think you need to educate yourself and look into what is being said and what the message is. It's simple.
As I said in hour 1, like obviously the one where a man loses his life is this situation in a completely needless act by a cop. Is the biggest eye opener there is, but I believe the one in New York with the lady in the park was like it was like, to me, certainly not as appalling, but I mean I wanted to just like scream at this lady. Like, I just can't believe that's the way you react to somebody telling you put your dog on a leash, and she only reacts that way. Her first reaction to a black man is to say, I'll call the cops, say you're threatening my life. Because she knows, one, like, she thinks, well, cops will believe it because I say he's a black man, he's threatening a white lady's life. And 2, he has to be worried because he doesn't know what the police will do once they get here. Like, it's just that.
Again, just the getting threatened because he is telling you to follow a law. I mean, he is telling you to follow a law, and you immediately resort to threatening him. I will never understand that way of thinking.
And choke your dog while you're doing it. Like that's the other part of it that amazes me. All right, it is time for our 5 favorite songs. Today's category not easy. There's not a. Yesterday we had the ladies' first names, and there was a million songs to choose from. Today, dealing with types of cars, not as easy.
I didn't even get to 10 songs. Greg, I think, panicked when he picked this topic.
If we could have included the word car and types of cars, then it would have been a little easier. But this was just types of cars. Let's go ahead and do Greg's list first.
The absentee guy.
The absentee vote of Greg Gaston.
So Greg went number 5, Eliminator ZZ Top. Didn't strike him as a ZZ Top guy. 4, Mustang Sally, Wilson Pickett. 3, Cadillac Ranch, Bruce Springsteen. Definitely know he's a Bruce Springsteen guy.
I figured he was having Bruce Springsteen. I figured he'd have a Bruce Springsteen Cadillac song. I did not think it would be Cadillac Ranch, though.
2, we're kicking it back to the 60s. Beach Boys, Little Deuce Coupe.
Oh, yes, okay.
And number 1, this has shown up on one of his lists before.
Saturday night, I guess that makes it alright. You see, what have I got to lose?
Little Red Corvette Prince.
Well, that makes, because I think it was like number 3 on his list of songs with a color in the title. And if it's that high on that, because that list, there's a lot to choose from. If it's that high on that list, I think in this category, it's got to be number 1.
It has to be number 1. There was no other way he could have gone.
And that's a great choice. I love Prince. That's not my favorite Prince, but that's a very good song.
I love
Prince, so I don't
have
have
a problem. In your top 5?
Prince songs?
Is this in your top 5?
Oh, no, it's in my
today?
top 5 today, yes. Yes, oh yeah. I found about 9 songs, I think it was, that I deemed worthy of the top 5, and I tried to narrow it down from there. I left a couple out that I would have maybe wanted to put in there, but yeah, there was not a whole lot. The one yesterday, I had 20 songs that I could have easily put in my top 5.
Usually I get 10 and then narrow it down to 5 from there, but I couldn't. I was struggling to get 5 on this one.
All right, so here's my list, my top 5 for types of cars. Number 5. This was actually, I think, recorded like 3 days before she died. Mercedes-Benz, Janis Joplin. Little a cappella thing there, which is an interesting song. Number 4, I have Little Red Corvette, Prince. Number 3, another Corvette, the Corvette song by George Jones. Everybody knows I'm a big George Jones fan. That is a classic. Number 2, I was mad yesterday when I didn't put it on my top 5. I couldn't get it in my top 5, but works out well today. Mustang Sally from Wilson Pickett. And then number 1. Oh, just listen to that right there. That's just perfect.
Girl, you taught me how to hurt real bad and cry myself to sleep. Show me how this town shatter dreams. Another lesson about a naive fool who came to Babylon. Found out that the pie don't taste so sweet. Now his guitars, Cadillacs, hillbilly
Dwight Yoakam, guitars, Cadillacs, my number 1.
Dwight Yoakam have anything else?
Oh yeah, Dwight Yoakam's got some other stuff. I'm not like this massive Dwight Yoakam fan. That's my favorite song of his by far. I love that song right there. That's a good stuff. But Dwight Yoakam, he's just got a little. That voice is very recognizable. He's got some other good stuff. All right, Gabe Kuhn.
All right, it's time. I'm gonna preface this by saying I am absolutely all over the place as far as genre goes here. I struggled, so I put 5 just to. I don't know. I heard it the other day. Hot Rod Lincoln, Commander Cody and his Lost Planet.
I was mad that I couldn't get. I was like,
Airman.
I still can't get it on my list. I wanted to get it on my list, but Mercedes-Benz beat it out.
I threw it on there because I ran out of.
It's a fun
songs.
Song. It's a fun song. Gonna drive me to drinking if you don't stop driving that Hot Rod Lincoln.
4, Camaro by Kings of Leon.
Okay.
3, Summertime in That Cutlass, Nipsey Hussle. See, look, we're all over the place. Telling you right now. You go from Hot Rod Lincoln. By Commander Cody and his Lost Planet Airmen to Kings of Leon to Nipsey Hussle.
Wow.
It's a normal transition, right?
That is an eclectic group.
Number 2, Little Red Corvette by Prince. And number 1, what a fantastic song.
Oh, great choice. I didn't even think of this song.
All my friends.
Lowrider by War.
Lowrider.
I would be remiss if I didn't put it on the list. Number one, just worked out that way.
I am angry at myself. I didn't even, this song never crossed my mind. It would have absolutely been top 5 for me.
It's just, I think you were thinking like brands of cars and not lowrider. Like
I was. That's exactly what, I didn't even, like, this never crossed my mind about this being a song, like a car. Absolutely would have made top 5 for me. I'm a huge fan of this song. Great choice. Great choice, Gabe Kuhn.
Well,
Very well done.
Thank you.
Very well done. I probably would, I would have knocked Mercedes-Benz out of there, and I would have probably put that at number 3. Probably knocked Corvette song down to 4, Little Red Corvette to 5, and knocked Mercedes-Benz out of there. Very, very good choice by Gabe Kuhn. So there it is, your top 5 songs about cars, types of cars, though, not the word car. So you can text them in at 67129. You can also message us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Instagram. John on Facebook comes with Bitchin' Camaro, Little Red Corvette, Corvette song by George Jones, Pink Cadillac, and Mustang Sally. So none of us had Pink Cadillac, did we? Not one of us 3.
It was in consideration, but
I thought Greg would have
couldn't make my top 5.
Pink Cadillac, but I do remember that. I think the other day with the colors, he said that he does not like. That's one Bruce Springsteen song he doesn't like. But he could have gone with Aretha's version of Pink Cadillac. It's hard to leave Little Red. I mean, it's hard to leave Little Red Corvette out of this one. Like this one, that Little Red Corvette makes this.
It doesn't have to be your one, but it was the most obvious choice when I got to it.
Raider Corey on the First Bank text line 67129 goes Hot Rod Lincoln. Yes, Commander Cody. Number 4, Pink Cadillac. Number 3, Mustang Sally. Number 2, Little Red Corvette. And number 1, maybe you're familiar with this, Eazy-E, Cruising in My 64.
Hold up. Okay. All right. I guess.
He says it's about an Impala.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, yeah, that's it.
I'm not a.
I'm just trying to see if that's the actual name of the song. I guess it is.
Cruising in My 64?
Yeah. Yeah. We'll go with that. I think he has another song because he starts off one of his songs saying Cruising Down the Street in My 6'4". But that's not the song.
Yeah.
So I was just making sure. I think he does have a song.
Okay, cool. Somebody texts in Rush Red Barchetta. Is that a type of car? I don't know.
No idea.
Barchetta.
I know what bruschetta is. It's like the appetizer you can get at a Italian restaurant.
So, yeah, we'll go with that. Sure, why not? Bobby in Midtown. Little Deuce Coupe by the Beach Boys. Mercury Blues by David Lindley and El Rayo. 3, Cadillac Ranch. 2, Chevrolet by ZZ Top. What was the ZZ Top song Greg had?
Let me check really quick. Eliminator.
Okay. Number 1 for Bobby in Midtown, Tupelo, Mississippi, and a 57 Fairlane by Dale Watson. He says, Eli, if you've never listened to Dale Watson, please check him out, right up your alley. Bobby, that's funny that you've said that because a couple years ago, I don't remember how long ago. I think it was probably 2 years ago. I had never heard of Dale Watson. I did not know anything about Dale Watson. But I happened to go, this is when I lived downtown. I went over to, oh gosh dang it. Now I'm drawing a blank on the bar downtown, the big outdoor bar downtown.
Is it like a?
They have the huge outdoor area there.
Is it like it's not on Beale or anything?
No, down by.
It's oh my God, Laughlin Yard.
Yes, Laughlin Yard. I lived right next to it. I just drew a blank. I go over to Laughlin Yard and they've got this what's he call his music? I can't remember what he calls his music. But Dale Watson, his music group, like they do this tour, and I can't remember what he calls it. I want to say Americana, but it's not Americana. Something similar to that. And they were there doing a big deal that night. And so we went in and watched it. And yes, I loved Dale Watson. Absolutely loved him. He is fantastic. So yes, I know exactly who you're talking about, Bobby. I stumbled upon seeing him live there at Laughlin Yard. Absolutely awesome stuff. I don't know that song for sure. He probably played it that night. I don't know, but yeah, that's Dale Watson. Absolutely, I know who you're talking about. Let's see here. Number 5, Brand New Cadillac by The Clash. Number 4, My Hoopty by Sir Mix-a-Lot.
I had to go look that up. I had never heard it.
Anytime you can bring Sir Mix-a-Lot in, I like that. Number 3, Mercedes-Benz, Janis Joplin. Number 2, Bitchin' Camaro by the Dead Milkmen. And number 1, Jerry Was a Race Car Driver.
So race car could have counted, huh? Or are we just...
I mean, that's a type of car, right?
I guess.
Yeah, Greg's
we don't have, I was gonna say we don't have the
Nico, you're fine with that.
Picky teacher here.
You're absolutely fine with that. Absolutely no doubt about that. Let's see here. Another list from Wayne. Little GTO by Ronnie and the Daytonas. Number 4, Mustang Sally. Number 3, Little Red Corvette. Number 2, Pink Cadillac. Number 1, Mercury Blues by Steve Miller. That's a good choice. Good choice, Wayne. Does Barracuda by Heart count? Is Barracuda a car? Barracuda is a car? But that song's that's not about a car, right?
What is?
Barracuda?
I gotta imagine it is, yeah. There's a car called a Barracuda, correct?
Is there? I don't know.
Yeah.
There is? Is that what Hart's song Barracuda? I'm trying to let's think of that song in my head now.
It's a Plymouth Barracuda.
How about that?
2-door. I don't know what a pony car manufacturer. A 2-door pony car. Have you ever heard of a pony car? You know what a pony car is?
Pony Express. Pony car sounds like a horse. That's not a car. That's a horse.
But yeah, it's a Plymouth Barracuda.
I guess that counts. If that's a car, I guess we can count that. Somebody says, I'm ashamed of you, Eli. You didn't have My Hoopty by Sir Mix-a-Lot. I mean,
I'm ashamed of myself.
Yes, I'm a little ashamed of myself. Don't think it would have made my list, but I did not even come up with it. Ameripolitan, that's the type of music Dale Watts. That's his tour. Yes, that's thank you very much. But yes, that was some really good stuff. John says Red Barchetta is about spiders, not a car. Again, I've never heard of a Barchetta car or whatever. As you said, yes, you can. I know what bruschetta is, but I don't know.
It can actually be quite good, bruschetta.
Yes. Ray on Periscope, GTO, Low Rider, Little Deuce Coupe, Little Red Corvette, and number 1 Pink Cadillac. I'm so mad that I didn't think of Low Rider.
Barchetta is actually apparently a V12 engined Ferrari that they released in 1947.
All right, is Rush's song Red Barchetta about that? About a car?
Yes. Looks like. Counts. Count it.
All right, so there we go. Again, we grade on a curve. The substitute teacher's not nearly as hard as the usual teacher.
Especially with this theme here today. This was tough.
Although I will say this. Barracuda wouldn't have made my top 5. Barracuda would have been in consideration, would not have made my top 5. I did not know Barracuda was even a car. Low Rider definitely would have been a top 5 for me. Will you play a little bit, just because I always like hearing George Jones? Will you pull up the Corvette song by George Jones? I always love me some George Jones.
Is it called The One I Loved Back Then?
Yes.
The Corvette song?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, that's exactly correct.
I stopped off at the Quick Sack for some beer and cigarettes. The old man took my money as he stared at my
Let's listen to that voice. Does it get better than that voice?
One just like her son in 1963. Hell, a man down at the bank took her from me.
Here we go.
Oh,
Oh, she was hotter than a $2 pistol. She was the fastest thing
George is the
around.
best. I love what he does there. All right, so somebody, okay, Joe texts this in, and this is a song that I actually debated this with myself for a long time. Johnny Cash has a song called One Piece at a Time that is about building a car. He works at like a GM plant, and his whole thing is he takes like one part home with him every day to build a car. I consider that, but I don't, because it is not, the car is in no way referenced in the title. I did not count that.
That's what I was saying too. Somebody called in with One Piece at a time. It does not have a car. It's about a car.
Yes, but it is not referenced in the title.
And
So
the title is what we're aiming for.
Yes, that's the thing. That's why I did not count that, because I would have absolutely had that in my top 5. But I was like, no, it's not there's no reference to a car, a type of car in the title. So I did not count that for this one. So that one, Joe, I will say no to, because I said no to myself on it. Otherwise, it would have been in my top 5. Can you give me a little My Hoopty? That's clean, right?
I think you're operating on the edge there. I have no idea.
To it first.
I'll check.
Listen to it first, but I want to hear. We can just a bit say we went from George Jones to Sir Mix-a-Lot. How many places can say they went from George Jones to Sir Mix-a-Lot? That's good stuff. So I just want to hear, so we can get a little Sir Mix-a-Lot to follow up George Jones. Two guys who I guarantee will never played together in their lives. But
what a shame.
Yeah,
what a shame.
I could only imagine what they could have done. Somebody else says Red Barchetta is about a car. So yeah, so they're so we have differing opinions on that one, but we're counting it. We are absolutely counting that. That one passes the test. Tomorrow, by the way, we are going to go with run or running. Tomorrow's category is running. Running. That has to be in the title. Something about run or running has to be in the title. And I feel like there's a lot that fit that. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like there's a lot of songs that include run or running in the title. You got some Sir Mix-a-Lot coming? Is it clean?
I'm getting nervous. This is a long. I'm going through these lyrics. It looks like it's okay.
Okay. Well, we don't have to play much. Oh, yeah. Oh, look at Gabe getting down on the video. I hope you're watching the video right now. Gabe getting down on the dance floor. Oh, yeah. Sir Mix-a-Lot. George Jones, Sir Mix-a-Lot. Doesn't get much better than that. My Hoopty. I probably have, again.
Oh, we're getting out to this song.
I should have given it an honorable mention. That was a perfect honorable mention song right there. I'm ashamed I did not put that as an honorable mention for today. Up next, talking some NBA. Colin Ward-Henninger from CBSSports.com. Right after this. Yeah, tell us about it, Sir Mix-a-Lot.
Accelerator sticking, something on my left front wheel keeps clicking. Picked up the girlies, now we're 8 deep. Cars barely moving, but now we got heat.
Take Sports 56 with you on your phone or tablet. Download our official Sports 56 app today.
Central Barbecue is committed to the health and safety of this community, who has supported Central for almost 20 years. Central Barbecue is still open for business with to-go and delivery options to serve the greater Memphis area with the same great barbecue you have come to know and love. With 4 locations to serve you, from downtown, midtown, and East Memphis, you can order your favorite barbecue and enjoy everything on the menu in the comfort of your own home. Call your nearest Central Barbecue location for more information on delivery and to-go options today.
Plasma donations are needed now more than ever, and you can make a difference during these unprecedented times. Plasma Biological Services is seeking healthy donors as well as those who have fully recovered from COVID-19. Your plasma may be used to help those still fighting the virus. If you have tested positive for COVID-19 and have fully recovered, please call 866-END-CV19 or go to grifolsplasma.com. That's GRIFOLS plasma.com today to see how your plasma can help save others that are hospitalized with COVID-19 and if you are eligible to donate. All donors will be compensated for their time. Please call 866-END-CV19 or go to grifolsplasma.com.
The landscape is so beautiful at Town Village Audubon Park. Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. Looking for a great place to retire, but you still have a very active lifestyle? Then visit Town Village. Only requirements that you're 55 plus. Prices per month starting at $24.50. The Gourmet Chef welcomes you to visit our restaurant and bistro. Package includes 3 complimentary meals per day, maid service, free local transportation, monthly coffee club, theme dinner parties, lots of fun. Visit us and call Daniel or Bo at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home. Town Village Audubon Park.
Right now, it feels like the world's standing still. But if you look to the land, it's a whole different story. From farms to backyards, wheels are turning, seeds are being planted, animals are getting fed, grass is growing, and families are giving their all to the soil. Because no matter how uncertain things get, the land never stops. So to all those linked to the land, John Deere says thank you. We're here for you because we all run together. Nothing runs like a deer.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays presented by FedEx. This hour is brought to you by East Memphis Ace Hardware at Quincy White Station. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoie.
Very appropriate that we would have the Cars coming out of the break after our whole category today was about cars for our 5 favorite songs. We're shifting gears here, though. See what I did there? Shifting gears, keeping that car
You're on
theme
it today.
going, getting that car theme going. That's right. We're going to talk some NBA basketball. Colin Ward Henninger covers the NBA for CBS Sports. You can follow him on Twitter at Colin CBS Sports, and he joins us here on the program. Hey, Colin, how you doing?
I'm doing well, as well as can be expected. People are healthy, and I still have a job, get to work from home, so I can't complain too much. How are you guys doing?
Doing very well ourselves. Pretty much in that same category, no doubt about that. Of course, we're all hoping that the NBA can get back on the court very, very soon. They continue to discuss a lot of different possibilities, a lot of different plans. Here in Memphis, obviously, we have a vested interest in how they approach this as far as maybe that last playoff spot goes in the Western Conference. I get the idea that they want to get as many teams as possible there. And if I'm a player on a team that has no shot, I don't know that I really want to be there to play useless games. So I get this is a tough situation for everybody to deal with. What do you like? What do you think would be the best way to do this?
Yeah, it's definitely kind of a high wire balancing act, right? Because you need as many teams there as you can to make money, because that's the point of all this. They wouldn't be trying to come back if it weren't for the financial impacts of this shutdown. Nobody really knows when it's going to be safe. They're just going to have to kind of try it and see what happens. But on the other hand, you can't bring back too many teams because that adds to the risk. And as you mentioned, there's so many teams who are out of it who, when they come back, wouldn't be playing their stars anyway. So you have to think about what kind of product would be on the court. I think the plan I like, and I'm sure you guys in Memphis probably don't like it too much, but is to bring back those 4 teams, the Trailblazers, the Pelicans, the Kings, and Spurs, that are fighting for that 8th spot with the Grizzlies. Let those 5 teams kind of battle it out in some sort of round-robin play-in style tournament for the first week or so until we get back to the regular playoffs. But I think that's the only way to get some sort of meaningful, interesting basketball games before we actually progress to the playoffs. And I think that would be somewhat fair to those teams that were fighting for the 8th spot, if only because the Grizzlies had a very tough schedule, coming up and what would have been the end of the regular season. So I think that's somewhat fair to those teams who were fighting for a playoff spot while not requiring all these teams to come back who have no chance at making the playoffs.
My thing, I guess, if you're going to do it, if you're going to say that the Western Conference's 8th spot is up for grabs, why would you not do that for the East as well?
Well, if you look at the standings, all those teams that I mentioned are within 4 games of the Grizzlies, and in the loss column, I believe. And if you go to the Eastern Conference, the Wizards are the closest team, and they're 6-7 games out of the 8th spot. So I think if you are being realistic about it, you could say that the teams in the West did have a realistic chance of getting to that 8th seed. In the East, yeah, sure, mathematically they might have had a shot, but I don't think the teams like the Wizards, the Hornets, the Bulls really had a chance of making that 8th seed. And honestly, I don't think they will make too much of a stink if they don't get invited back to this thing, because they're looking at lottery balls anyway.
Personally, I actually like the pool play idea of going with 20 teams and doing it that way. I don't know if that is something that the league would like at all, but that to me, I think would create a lot of more intrigue, and it gets those next 4 teams into the mix, which they seem to want to do.
Yeah, I do think that's really interesting, and that would kind of it's the World Cup style pool play group stage, and that would kind of replace what's the traditional first round of the playoffs. So the 8 teams that end up advancing from that, however you want to do it, whether it's 4 groups or 5 groups. The top teams end up advancing to the second round of the playoffs, which would then have the 8 teams. Then it would look like a normal playoff. So I do like that idea. I think it's very interesting. I think it lends itself to a little more chance where a team that wasn't necessarily expected to advance could advance based on kind of the randomness of people returning from this hiatus. The only thing I think that might hold that back is players particularly might have an issue with changing the playoff format too much, because that will lead to the dreaded A word, the asterisk, that everyone's going to talk about with this season. The more we experiment, the more we change the traditional format, the more it will seem like the champion wasn't the same kind of champion as we've seen in the past. I think players like LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, people who are looking to add to their legacies here, might have an issue with changing the playoff format that much, even though it might provide more entertaining games and more interest for the fans.
Did you have any problem with what Damian Lillard said? Because I didn't. I mean, to me, I would be the same way. Like, what am I getting out? If we're playing useless games, why should I play?
No, I agreed with what he said. The only thing that I was a little bit confused about is if they bring the Blazers back, they're going to have a chance at the playoffs, right? I can't imagine a scenario where they bring back a team that was, 3.5 games out of the 8th seed and say, yeah, you guys are going to play 6 games, but none of them count towards the standings, and you're not going to make the playoffs. So I totally understand where he's coming from, and I think that sentiment has been expressed by other players as well, that if they're told to come back, I know, I'm out here in the Bay Area, so I know if the Warriors get invited back, Steph Curry and Draymond Green are not going to be playing in those games. So I get where he's coming from, but I do believe that if a team like the Blazers that had a shot does get invited to Orlando to complete the season, they're going to have a chance at the playoffs.
The interesting thing that I guess, and hopefully it doesn't come to, is going to be what happens once they get there if somebody tests positive. And then it's like, okay, and if it's one and maybe they're okay with that, but what is that number then that makes them have to shut it all down again?
Yeah, and that's the magic question, and that's why these decisions take so long, and Adam Silver has been putting it off as long as he possibly can. I mean, we're getting to the point where he's going to have to make a decision, and he's trying to get input from players, GMs. He has a call with owners tomorrow to try to nail down exactly how they want to handle this moving forward. But the biggest thing is going to be testing, and that's been the issue from the beginning, that he said, if we return, we need a lot of testing, and we need it to be accurate, and we need it to be fast. And that's exactly why. It's because if a player does test positive, they need to be able to quickly and effectively test every player that he's come in contact with, every teammate, every coach, every official, everybody along the way. And those tests need to be accurate, so that if we know any of them start having positive tests or are having symptoms, they might need to shut down those teams. They might need to shut down the teams they played against. Adam Silver believes that by the time they start playing at the end of July or early August, there will be enough testing, and it will be good enough that if a player does test positive and it hasn't spread throughout the team, they can sequester and quarantine that one player and allow the team to continue to compete and not shut down the league. But as you said, if this thing starts cascading, 4 or 5 players start getting it, I think that's going to change things a lot, and they're going to have to look at whether shutting down the league is the most responsible thing to do.
Talking with Colin Ward Henninger from CBS Sports. And the thing, too, about that is you wonder, like they say, like, well, if just one guy is positive, we believe we can quarantine him. But what if that one guy is LeBron James? Like, what if it's one of the stars? Are they going to be like, okay, sorry, Lakers, you guys got to play without LeBron?
I guess that's the plan. And what I've heard a lot of people say is you have to kind of treat it like an injury, like pretend the person strained their hamstring or twisted their ankle or something like that, and they're going to be out for 2 weeks or 3 weeks. I know it's not the ideal scenario, but as Adam Silver said, we're looking at making decisions from a lot of bad options here. So nothing is going to be ideal, and the worst case scenario for the NBA is for a player like LeBron or Giannis or Luka Doncic to contract the virus and be out for the entire remainder of the season, whatever that looks like. But they seem positive about it, and I think they're willing to put up with these kind of risks that they have to take in order to get this season going to try to generate some revenue.
Where do you kind of stand, I guess, on the whole asterisk thing? To me, it's like, yeah, obviously global pandemics don't happen, but things happen in seasons. We've had strike-shortened seasons. We've had other things happen during seasons, whatever. I don't. The bottom line is, if you crown a champion, you crown a champion. I don't see why you need to put any asterisk by it.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. I'm not big on asterisks. I know from having watched sports my entire life that every season something weird happens. Some great player gets injured. Somebody's on steroids. Something happens every single year. So I think as long as the entire league is going through this in the same way, which is pretty much what it's been, everybody's going to have to deal with this. Everybody's going to have to deal with the same conditions when they come back in Orlando and play in these weird gyms with no fans. It's going to be strange for everybody. So as long as everyone's on the same playing field, I don't think you have to put an asterisk next to it. Now, you're talking about something like the Astros cheating scandal where they were getting a significant advantage over other teams, then maybe we can talk about it. But I think as long as the entire league is going through the same thing, there shouldn't be an asterisk.
With the no fans, are you a supporter of like cardboard cutouts, maybe sex dolls like they use for soccer? What about pumping in fan noise, or do you like the idea of just the silence?
I tell you, I have no idea what this is going to look like. I mean, I think they need to pump in crowd noise. I think the cardboard cutouts might be a little too far. The sex dolls possibly might cause some controversy, but I think the crowd noise is probably a good idea. If anything, just to make it seem normal for the fans, if they're watching these competitive games where you can hear every sneaker squeak and every dribble off the hardwood. I mean, it's going to be very strange for fans anyway, watching these games, and that we don't know what the production value will look like, how many cameramen or cameras we're going to allow inside these games. So by pumping in crowd noise, I think that will at least give some semblance of reality. The biggest issue is, what if Giannis throws down a between-the-legs dunk and the crowd noise stays the same? You're so used to hearing this crescendo, and that's part of the experience and part of how you get excited. The announcers' voices get louder. What is that going to look like when there's no fans in the stands? And will the players react the same way to big plays? So it's going to be weird. Everyone knows it's going to be weird, but I think they're just going to have to kind of use trial and error to see what works and what doesn't.
Yes, that's it. Because when I'm watching a summer league game, because to me it's going to feel like summer league, but like when I watch a summer league game, I know that it doesn't matter. Like this is going to be like an NBA Finals game, and so it matters a lot, and yet there's still no fans there. It is going to be so strange.
It's going to be odd, and I'm also wondering how they're going to handle the mic situation on the court, because if they don't pump in a lot of crowd noise, you're going to be hearing everything that these players and coaches say, which is going to be a lot of bleeps, and it might just be 2.5 hours of silence if they got to keep their hand on that bleep button. So it's going to be very strange to watch.
If we do get this going, and we're doing it now, there's no home court advantage, obviously. Who do you believe are the Lakers the favorite, the Bucks the favorite, somebody else? Who do you believe is the favorite to win it?
I mean, I've always thought the Clippers were the favorite to win this year, so I'm not going to change that. I actually think that this layoff might have helped them, especially once we get into the training camp portion of this, where they're ramping up. The Clippers have had injuries all season long, and obviously they've been load managing Kawhi Leonard and being very careful with Paul George. I think that during this training camp, that'll give them a lot of time to build chemistry and to also try to figure out their rotations a little bit. They have a very deep team, But with that comes a lot of questions about which groups need to play together. So I do think the Clippers have the best roster. I've picked them since last summer to win the NBA championship this year. I don't think that has changed. But you look at a team like the Lakers, and LeBron James has gotten so much rest, or will have gotten so much rest by the time they start. And at his advanced age, that was pretty much the main concern with the Lakers, was what is LeBron going to look like in the playoffs? He's had to push himself a little bit harder this regular season. So I think those questions have gone away now that he's going to be fully rested. So I do pick the Clippers to win, but I think the Lakers are obviously right there with them, if not just a hair behind them.
All right, so I'll put you on the spot here. When will we see an actual NBA game that counts being played?
From everything I've heard, I think the end of July is probably our best guess, if not maybe just the beginning of August. I think if you start going beyond that, you're really starting to push back next season, and you have to start thinking about possibly just canceling it and waiting until next season. But there's significant momentum to play. It seems like everybody wants to. It's just a matter of figuring it out. I think training camps are expected to start around mid-June, and then they're shooting for that end of July start date for actual games. So, fingers crossed we'll be seeing NBA basketball later this summer.
And do you expect next season to be a Christmas Day start?
I think that makes the most sense. If not Christmas itself, sometime in December. The NBA has been talking about this, debating this idea for a long time, even before this shutdown happened. So I think they're excited to see what that looks like, see what avoiding football for those first couple months looks like, and also waiting as long as possible to start next season, because they don't know when fans are going to be allowed in games, So the longer they can hold off on that, the better. And whether they have to hold games with, 15, 20% capacity in arenas, that's better than not being allowed to let anyone in.
He is Colin Ward-Henninger from CBS Sports. Follow him on Twitter at Colin CBS Sports. Colin, thank you very much. Appreciate your time as always, man.
I appreciate it too. Stay healthy.
You too. That's Colin Ward-Henninger. Back to wrap things up with one final thing as we continue here on Sports 56 Middays on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Frontier Western Store is open and ready to serve you for all your needs in boots, apparel, pet food, and more. Frontier is proud to be a local leader here in the Mid-South when it comes to boots. Stop by the store today for an incredible selection of name brand work and dress boots. Come browse aisles and aisles of top quality boots at everyday low prices in our world famous boot showroom. Dan Post, Rocky, Durango, Twisted X, Georgia, Ariat, and many more. There are so many styles, colors, and fits available, you might need a hand picking out your favorites. Luckily, Frontier's knowledgeable sales staff will cheerfully assist you with any questions you have and ensure the proper fit of your new boots. Frontier also has an amazing selection of jeans and shirts by Wrangler, Ariat, and Carhartt, as well as a fully stocked women's boutique department with thousands of tops and dresses at unbelievable prices. New arrivals often. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Gilman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Family owned and operated since 1967.
It's your
home speaking, and I need you to do me a couple of favors. First, could you get that blueberry that rolled under the fridge last week? It's throwing my feng shui off. Second thing, bundle your home and car insurance with Geico. It's easy, and we could save money. Lastly, I know you were thinking of painting the nursery back to off-white, but I'm actually feeling this baby blue. Didn't think it was my color, but I am pulling it off.
Geico. For bundling made easy, go to geico.com today.
Attention doctors, nurses, law enforcement, firefighters, and EMT personnel. Infinity of Memphis wants to show their gratitude for what you've done and for what you do for our community. Right now, you can get your personal vehicle a mobile super synthetic or Mobile One oil and filter change for half price. That's only $32.50 or $49.99 respectively. Infinity of Memphis will also wash your car for free. Visit infinityofmemphis.com now to schedule your service. ID is required.
There's a new commissary in town in Collierville. Germantown Commissary is doubling. Yeah, they're still going to have the old Germantown Commissary by the tracks, but now there's a huge new Germantown Commissary in Collierville at Poplar and Houston Levee Road. It's huge, too. There's a drive-through. There's plenty of parking. No telephone pole to get in your way. A cool patio. It's right by the track, so the tradition continues. And this is a tradition that's been around forever. That commissary is famous for hickory-smoked, slow-cooked Memphis-style barbecue. They've got a private party room at the new one in Collierville. Self-catering still continues. Party packs for $5.95. Basically, the great ribs, the great pulled shoulder, the great deviled eggs. Everything is there in Collierville and Germantown now. So there is now a Germantown and Collierville style of barbecue. It's called Germantown Commissary.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays presented by FedEx. This hour is brought to you by East Memphis Ace Hardware at Quincy White Station. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoie.
So, I will say this again. If they're only going to do a play-in for one playoff spot, then you have to go 1 through 16 and you play for Orlando's spot. The Grizzlies have a better record than both Brooklyn and Orlando. So they should not have their spot in jeopardy if those teams do not have their spot in jeopardy.
And again, you're mixing ideologies. You either are going conference-based or you're going record-based.
Yeah.
I don't think those two can cross over. You're blurring the lines. And again, the fact that the 4 next best teams are in the Western Conference is complete coincidence. Year by year, it does not happen this way. So I don't think you should completely hold it to a different standard just because the Western Conference teams were closer to making a playoff spot than the Eastern Conference. The Eastern Conference weren't mathematically out of it.
Exactly. I'm all for Portland, New Orleans, Sacramento, San Antonio, all getting an opportunity. But if you're going to keep it to the Western Conference, then you have to do the same thing in the East to the teams that still mathematically had a chance. But if you want to say, all right, we're going to do 1 through 16, and we're going to have those 4 teams and Orlando and Brooklyn play for 2 spots, okay, that's fine. I get that. I understand that. But again, to me, I would go with the pool play. That gets those 4 teams involved. It gives everybody a fair shot. It creates some cool matchups. It gives it, I think it would be actually kind of fun to watch that. But I just don't see how you're going to play off for the 8th seed in the West, but not do anything in the East. Just say, the East, no, we're going to stick with where we are. That I just don't understand that reasoning.
Yeah, and they try to preach fairness because they said if the season would have gone on, the probability of them making the playoffs was higher than the teams in the East. But if we're going off fairness, you're completely screwing the Grizzlies by doing this if you don't have the Eastern Conference have to do the same thing. So I get that in all of these situations, somebody's going to be affected in some way, probably negatively, but you have to try and limit it to a certain extent. And I think if you just have the Grizzlies spot in jeopardy, that makes no sense.
Yeah, I don't quite get that. That's for sure. By the way, if you missed any of the program today, hour number 1, we had a long discussion, a good discussion about kind of the issues in this country, the George Floyd death, the Lance Thomas tweet from yesterday, what might happen with Lance Thomas, and had a lot of good folks chiming in on that. You could always listen to that on the podcast. Hour number 2, Laird Veach, Athletic Director of University of Memphis, talked about them going into phase 0 with the football team. We also asked him about Lance Thomas and how they would handle such a situation. Also talked with Scott Miller about the baseball situation. Here in hour 3, we had our 5 favorite songs. Colin Ward-Henninger just joining us to talk some NBA just a little bit ago. So you can always check it out on the podcast, on the website, through the app, or however you get your podcast. Time now for one final thing.
Before Greg and Eli get out of here for the day, they each have one final thing they think you should know to make it through the rest of your day. So here are Greg and Eli with one final thing.
So this is interesting. Speaking of the NBA and speaking of the Grizzlies, I did not realize this, but ESPN did an article about guys whose different bonuses could be affected by what has happened. Tyus Jones of the Grizzlies, I did not realize he has a bonus in his contract of $858,000 if the Grizzlies win 33 games this year. They're sitting at 32. So if they don't play any more regular season games, now they say in this article they go through what the bonuses are that could be affected and what the likely situation, how they will resolve it. And as they say, likely in a situation like this, you would say that it would basically go by winning percentage. Like if they had played a full season, what 33 wins would be. So he would likely get the bonus because obviously if they had played out the season, they were going to win one more game somewhere along the line. So he would likely get this bonus. But how frustrating would that be if you're like $858,000?
I was going to say, if there was
one win away.
If there was no clause to help him get his money after that, I would be very, very sad for him.
But there are a lot of guys who are really close to certain performance-based clauses that may not get a chance to get those now because of this. Some, like they said, in some cases they'll prorate it, but other things are based on like, if something's based on like a percentage, like some people have clauses based on like shooting a certain percentage. Well, if you're like 0.1 underneath that right now, you're not getting it, like because there's nothing they can do. Like that's your percentage, and you don't get a chance to go try and get that up in an extra few games. But I didn't even realize that Tyus Jones had that. But
one game, just one game.
He needs one more win. He's like, let's go down and play like 3 regular season games. let's go ahead and play 3 regular season games, guys. What do you think about that? Let's go ahead and do that. But that's pretty funny. But that article is on ESPN.com. Thanks to our guest today, Laird Veach, Scott Miller, Colin Ward-Henninger. Tomorrow on the program, Corey Evans from SI going to talk some recruiting. We'll talk about Moussa Cisse and Memphis recruiting with him. Ben Golliver from the Washington Post on the NBA, working on a couple of other things as well. And our 5 favorite songs tomorrow deal with running, run or running in the title for 5 favorite songs tomorrow. Coming up next, it is Sports 56 Happy Hour with Johnny Radio, so stay tuned for that. It'll be followed by Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. Thanks to Gabe. For Gabe, I'm Eli. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday, everybody. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.
Well, now it's all going to pot.